that we have had, and we're so happy to have you with us on this final day. Slacks, all good things must come to an end, and I'm sorry to say, it's got to happen today. We'll crown our champions later on in this beautiful day, but first, we have to do a bit of housekeeping. Third, fourth place, there's still an opportunity for redemption.
Absolutely. We have seen so many teams come and go in this tournament, and we have been brought to our final day. However, I wouldn't call this housekeeping. I'd call this grudge match, baby. Both these teams got to vote. Both of them think that they could have done better, and both of them are here to prove not only to themselves, but to their fans that there is more in the tank. I cannot wait to see who will be coming out on top on this one.
For both of our teams, there is a lot of pressure on them still to perform. They want to show it for themselves, for the fans, and for their regions, especially. Speaking of which, let's bring them out. Joining us on stage is Vici Gaming! They're back on the stage for one final time. The hope of China might have been stifled for just a little moment here on the main stage, but this is the trial, the prova ahead of TI, and they're here to show it one more time that they got more than just this spot in the tank. What a team, what a performance, in many ways outstanding to get to this point. And today, they're gonna look for more than that in the third place.
Absolutely. The fans are out here supporting the boys, but they are joined by this other team's fans as well. They have followed them throughout the entire year, looked absolutely unstoppable, had an incredible performance this tournament as well. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you Yandex! Coming to our stage here today for the last time, Yandex is gonna fight to show that they did deserve to make it to this final day. A lot of people thought they'd be walking away with the victory, but in my opinion, it's better to not win everything, so not everybody knows how terrifying you are. So maybe this is a good thing, you know? But anyway.
You're hiding your power levels.
They are hiding like Goku. Anyway, but yes, we are going to watch this incredible team give us one hell of a show one more time. So personally, I love these kind of matches, especially with these two high caliber teams coming out, giving everything their all for the fans and for themselves.
You asked me, I think the pressure is not off. It's more than on for a game like this between them. Let's see then. Both of their keys have been crushed so far, so you'll see them still. Please go ahead. Yandex, please go ahead. Vici, no keys to place, but remember to shake your hands.
Oh, don't forget
the
that.
end here. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it for last time. For this one.
Absolutely. All right, our two teams are getting ready. The stakes are there. Double the prize pool for the winner, double the honor for the winner, and double the fun for all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into this series as we head back to our panel.
It's Yandex versus Vici Gaming coming up now, guys, and we had a chance to dive into these teams. Now the talking is almost done. It's time to play. And these drafts are going to set up both teams who want revenge. He called it a grudge match. Brian, I think that's pretty apropos for what these two teams are feeling. Nobody's satisfied with what happened yesterday, and redemption is on the mind.
Yeah, I'm curious strategically because both teams obviously losing. You learn a lot of lessons when you lose. And what I thought BB team and, P-Vision both did was these preemptive counter picks to really popular cores. You mentioned the Wyvern versus the Enigma in the P-Vision Yandex series. But then we also saw the Shadow Shaman from BB team against Vici Gaming's Puck. They preemptively picked that as well. And so I'm wondering if we've seen Vici Gaming do some really cool counter picks to things they've seen. You know, we saw the Slark versus the Ember. We saw the Zeus versus the Mirana. But will either of these teams take a dip in the pool of these preemptive counter picks to the heroes that they know the other team likes to play? Because I do think that gives you a massive leg up when you're doing that, and the enemy team still feels like they need to pick what's been working for them, and I think that might be a big decider today.
Yeah, I mean, the good example of this is when Yandex, when they were playing against the 1W, when they picked PL on 18th, and then they picked Shaker on 23 straight out of the phase, knowing that this is the counter that they could potentially pick. But also we've seen Shaker being a very good counter to like pucks in the mid lane, to some of these melee matchups against the Earth Spirit, against the Ember Spirit as well. And I think Malady had a really good point about in his pre-game interview about the global presence, where they gave them away Invoker, they gave them away this Nature's Prophet and Underlord. So I feel like they are also going to be trying to utilize that in this series, potentially go back to DM's Underlord. Even Centaur, I think this is going to be highly contested hero because the hero feels super strong. DM feels way too comfortable on the hero. It's a global hero in a sense where you have an extra bit of a save. Centaur is a very greedy hero where he doesn't tend to join early on. He just presses one button, but other than that, he does soak up quite a lot of farm and also takes quite a lot of attention where you maybe feel like, oh, maybe we can get a kill, but you actually can't because the hero is way too tanky, or he's just doing his shenanigans with the Helm of the Dominator, always having a creep wave under his tower. So I think these type of heroes are going to be contested.
But Cost, I want to ask around, you know, what happens if that's exactly what Vici have picked up? You know, how do you avoid getting caught out in a situation where a team is already prepared? If we don't give them this, they do look like a shell of themselves. How does Yandex avoid being caught in that position like they did yesterday?
I mean, I think they definitely learned a lot. This is the team that can definitely bounce back. And also Vici Gaming, I think there's a lot of information how they play. They definitely pulled out their best strats because they have been through quite a lot of matches, and Yandex is a team that most of the time can recover. I would not put the Vici Gaming on the same caliber as P-Vision because everybody was talking about P-Vision being the strongest team. So I feel like maybe a mistake that you make against Vici Gaming compared to P-Vision yesterday is not going to be as punishable.
Makes sense.
I'd say out of all the teams that made it to the top 4, Vici had the most polarizing performances. Like sometimes we saw them just simply make misplays that led to a draft that we thought was good kind of falling flat. And then sometimes we saw them just absolutely pop off and just stomp teams that it felt like they had no business, like they're not no business stomping, but that they were the underdog against. So they were highly outperforming expectations and then sometimes falling quite far beneath them as well. Yandex, we heard Malady say how high priority P-Vision put yesterday on the global heroes, and he said that they basically got those stolen from them. That was his exact words. And I don't know if they're technically stealing Nature's Prophet from Vici. I haven't seen that too much from them, but they've decided, okay, that's clearly one of their clear takeaways from yesterday's loss.
Tiny again for Vici Gaming. This hero has played a lot of impactful moments for these drafts and also a lot of these teams here.
Yeah, it's a flex in a way, but we never really see it happen. Like prior to EWC, there was a good amount of mid-tiny in TI qualifiers where people were building Blink Dagger into Aghanim Scepter and then scaling with the Crystallis BKB, but playing off of the 3 volley, which could be potent, but most of the times we see this carry just in the carry role because the hero feels very difficult to push out of the lane because of his strength gain, very strong laner. It's also a good matchup against Nature's Prophet throughout the whole game because you're building into Blink Dagger, you're building into Shadow Blade, so you can hunt him down. Your positioning is going to be right on top of that Nature's Prophet. But on the other side, Yandex, they do have a little bit of a flex potential coming out from that NP because they can play it from position 4. Saxa did play it, and it also looked very good.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that Nature's Prophet, one of the key factors of the hero is that his ulti will constantly push waves, and Tiny is an off-map assassin who, all of these heroes that are off-map assassins do require their teammates to push the lanes for them or like at least win that battle somehow so that they have the extra vision, they have the extra information to operate under. So like you know, that's been a signature for XinQ, but I also love the Coddle ban conceptually because you're already you have the assassination to find the Nature's Prophet regardless of what role it's playing, but now you are behind in the lane pushing category, so I hope to see their next pick or two really address that.
And I also think that Keeper of the Light also slightly shuts down the flex potential for Tiny, because if you play it from the mid lane, if you have Coddle 4, it does allow you to play him from the mid lane because you're going to be having low spells, low cooldown on your spells, and also you become super active. But they also have been kind of abusing this Coddle. They played it 3 times, they won 2 games out of it, and in the games that they won, it looked so imba because of the heal. Like there was a couple of fights where he gets 3 blasts in basically 25 seconds, heals the whole team for 4,000 HP, and it gets pretty difficult, especially if you can find that hero. And most of the times this hero is too speedy, you don't have enough heroes to close the gap. But this has, to me at least, been the hero kind of the tournament from position 5, maybe even from the offlane, because the hero feels super strong. Like we have seen this hero scale, and we've also seen on the other side, for example, Maladich, who also scales from position 5, where he gets hard, he gets blade mail. So a hero that you should definitely be worried about.
Brian, Wyvern coming out, Undying on the side of Vici as well. How are you looking at Yandex approaching this?
So both teams have a save. Undying's a little bit longer cooldown, but a bit more impactful, meaning it blocks all damage rather than just physical damage like Wyverns. They both have strong counter initiation, Tombstone versus the Winter's Curse. Like conceptually, the way the heroes do it is very different, but Wyvern and Undying do serve a similar purpose in the grand scheme of team fights. But, you know, doubling down on just what I said earlier about the map pushing, I really think, like, I may be looking too much into it, and Yandex may be on a different page, but I think Necro is one of the best cores in the game for solving lane problems. He goes Radiance, he goes early Boots of Travel, and he will clean up the map for his team. And Undying does not do this. Like, Undying, and like I said, Tiny's going to be hunting, but he needs the lanes to be pushed. Undying wants you to fight him, and one of the easiest ways to do that is just push the lanes and ignore that. So Wyvern also is great at pushing waves. She can push from, like, off screen with her second spell. And Axe is going to be the hero that's going to capitalize for the lanes being pushed on their side.
Right.
So when I'm looking at the draft right now, I'm still looking at that aspect of the game, because there's nothing more frustrating than playing against like Nature's Prophet or Tinker or Anti-Mage and just feeling like the lanes are always pushed and you can't make any plays. And right now, I think that's what Vici is facing. I do think it's funny that sometimes a hero will be considered so broken that it gets elevated from support to core, and sometimes it's like so broken that you demote it from, not demote, but like you lower it on priority from 3 to 5. We saw Undying predominantly played as a 3, and then I think they were like, I think I could just buy Heart from the 5 position. It's what Malady basically said. I know he's not playing it this series, but that's kind of been the pioneer meta that Lacoste was talking about.
Yeah, and this Axe, I think maybe they have some PTSD from the previous series yesterday, because noticed he kind of crushed it, like with the early Blink Dagger. So they are going to be taking this for themselves, because I feel like you need some kind of a body when you have Nature's Prophet, when you have Wyvern. Also, don't think it's going to be that easy for Axe to get out once he jumps in, unless there's going to be a curse, unless there's going to be a heal. So I want to see how Vici Gaming is going to be approaching this, because if you're jumping into Tombstone, if you're jumping into tiny spells, a lot of the times you don't get out. And Vici Gaming going for, I would even say, standard stuff. So far in this tournament, we've seen it so many times. Ember Spirit plus Mirana combination, even with the Tiny. You just have heroes who can play. And I want to see if there's still a flex potential for this Undying, because against Nature's Prophet Wyvern, it doesn't seem like this is the hero.
It's not doing enough.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like from the offlane it's going to be doing as much.
Is this just like complete disrespect to like Huskar? I know the hero was getting banned sometimes earlier on in the tournament, but okay, I was like, Huskar Monkey King. Okay, Monkey King's like the melee version of Huskar in the sense that it's meant to just absolutely demolish.
They used it yesterday.
Yeah, it did not work, right?
It worked really well in the first, like in the laning phase, first 10 minutes, and then once he picked up this, so he started to kind of go alone. He got caught off 2 times by Keeper of the Light, Blinding Light. He got caught by Ember as well, and then it was nullified. So his mid game was completely like gone up until a point where they started to play together with the Wukong's command and just fighting around it. So want to see how CJ is going to be approaching this issue, because other than this, they don't really have the best heroes against Monkey King. Like Tiny, Ember with Spirit Vessel, of course, he's going to be A-okay later. Problem is you don't get too much out of the lane.
You know, CJ, obviously, they won that game. That was the game that went over 65 minutes.
Yes.
And obviously, they lost very quickly afterwards. Malady said, you know, it's not really, should have been a 2-0. So clearly not happy with that performance. But it does signal that they felt comfortable. CJ, whatever he did was enough to say, should we get you comfortable again? And I feel like XM also has had a couple games. You mentioned Necro. He didn't have a great game on Necro against BB Team. When Seb and I were talking, he said he expected it to be much stronger than it was, and it wasn't. How much are they drafting, you think, right now, Brian, for comfort versus trying to gotcha in terms of this first game?
I think comfort matters a lot, and I also think that what Lacoste said is very relevant, that he didn't really play the game clean on Shira Jr. I think sometimes, you know, like, this should have gone better. Like, I'm capable of making this go better than it did the previous time. It did look like there was a bit of nerves affecting Shira Jr. yesterday. That's some players get nervous by being so passive that they're kind of like playing not to lose, and other players are kind of like trying to get too much done in the game, and that's what it felt like Shira Jr. was doing yesterday. I do want to point out that I think the Ember does address the lane problem. Like, he's a great core at split pushing the lanes for his team and supplying vision. So he's going to be like leading the charge. If Ember's not a part of something, like where he's pushing that part of the map, he's invading, he has to set up for Tiny, he has to set up for the Mirana arrows. I think the Monkey King being purely about shutting that down is crucial to Vici Gaming's game plan as a whole. You know, at the end of the day, I think Monkey King, I like to nerd out about this hero. I think he's one of the conceptually most difficult heroes in the game because he has the weirdest power spikes. You're like a god in the first 8 minutes, and then there's like some time in there where you need to stop being aggressive, but sometimes people even like Shira Jr. get lost in the sauce, and then eventually you become a raid boss again. He has peaks and valleys with this hero.
Yeah, very hit or miss type of a hero. If you're off to a good start, like, this hero can win you the game alone, especially in this one, because you're going to be providing so much vision for Axe to get a jump, for your NP to TP in, you're sitting on the trees, and with this newer build, rushing Deso from the mid lane, just like Orb of Frost into Deso treads pretty much, you are going to be never going to be lacking damage. You bring Nature's Prophet, even ulti on top of that, or just a TP. The heroes are going to be dying, especially this Undying. Like, he doesn't really have much to offer, and still yet to see where the hero is going to go. Seems like both teams are expecting quite a lot of flexes that could happen between this Nature's Prophet, between this Tiny and Undying. So
what would you like to see, Lacoste? I mean, what's missing for you? Vici, you said kind of standard. What would make this draft a little bit above average for you? What would you like to see from them?
Looking at the bans, it says Spectre. It would be a very good Spectre pick because of the Wyvern, because of Nature's Prophet, just like carry to carry matchup, and Wyvern doesn't really get to protect herself against what Spectre wants to do in the lane. We saw like Aghanim Scepter being a very good usage against it because of the 2 seconds fear that you get. Somebody used it the other day. I have too much Dota in my head, can't remember which team it was, but yeah, I feel like if they want to run this Nature's Prophet as a position 4, which they should, I think, okay, so it's going to be just Kez straight away. Any kind of stacking damage against Tiny is going to feel nice. Like, this is the matchup where Tiny, if he's using his combo on somebody other than Kez, he's very susceptible to dying to Kez. In this one, they don't really have any ways to amplify the damage on Kez. A lot of times you don't need to, but Vici Gaming, I think this Doom was even prepared before they picked Kez, and now seeing the Doom great against Kez, take him out of the fight, great against Monkey King, Wyvern heal, kind of makes sense, and we'll have to see. It could be... I'm not the biggest fan on their side of the support duo, because I don't think they can play so well with their mid laner. Mirana can, but Undying really isn't that hero. So I want to see, once they bring the heat to the mid lane, because this is also the losing matchup that you're playing against, how well Vici Gaming is going to be able to punch back.
Tiny's a carry that likes to sit in his lane until Echo Saber Shadowblade. That's usually around 15 minutes. Doom's an off-laner that likes to sit in his lane until he has 1 or 2 big items. I think the only hero on Vici Gaming that wants to move early is Ember, and he's up against Monkey King. I think he's the catalyst for their draft. I want to hype up the game as much as I can, but I also want to say, like, if I'm looking at this, I'm like, I think Vici Gaming might just get ran over.
It's
because,
very slow.
Yeah,
it's
you have a very slow draft against Kez Monkey King.
Tempo could be a problem.
They have a very high tempo on the side of Team Yandex, and they in the group stage, we were applauding teams for making it past the 30-minute mark and losing. Like the games were ending so fast. So I think that's what we're representing here, and the question is, what is Vici Gaming's counterplay going to be? Can they get a couple crucial kills on Shira Jr.? If so, then maybe they can open it up.
All right, well, Tempo, the big question from the desk. We'll send it over to Sunsfan and Kezu to give us our thoughts and get ready to go into Game 1 of this best of 3.
Thank you very much. Indeed, this is the 3rd place decider here between Yandex and Vici Gaming. What exactly is the difference between 3rd and 4th, would you say?
There are quite a few differences here, Stan.
Quite a few.
That we, or rather I, just to make sure I have my info correctly, we'll use our Lenovo Legion, Mr. Shannon, of course, to get all the information on this one. Because there's a difference in the club points and also in the money that you get. So we have an $80,000 difference. It's not bad for these players, you know, 80K, but also 200 club points. So later, if you want to get the big monies for the clubs, if you're an owner, You want that. And also, I need to put in my match pick'ems. You know, I like playing fantasy, Shannon. Did you predict in yours who's going to win today?
I forgot. I really.
This guy sucks. Get him off the screen.
Yeah, let's get into the game.
He's trash.
Very embarrassing intro here for us as we get into this third place decider game number 1 between Vici Gaming and Yandex. And, well, Yandex has looked masterful. Maybe I shouldn't be that surprised because P-Vision, BB Team, and Yandex have all looked relatively similar in terms of tiers.
Hold that.
As Shiro already getting gone on, completely blocked off. As Chira Jr. will claim first blood for Yandex. They're on the board already. And that was before I could even finish the statement that Vici yesterday looked very poor compared to some of the performance that they've had previously. Can they step it back up towards Yandex's tier?
Yeah, yesterday Vici definitely got dismantled, where Yandex, you could say something similar, but overall I do think that their series was a lot more competitive if you are going to compare the two. And now you have CJ, and I agree with the panel. I think specifically BSJ mentioned that, like Chira Jr. yesterday played with a bit of nerves, and he did struggle. But starting off with this matchup, your Monkey King versus Ember, and you have first blood as this.
I think you have second blood as well.
Yeah.
And why will fall to the Chicken Man, Watson, one of the best Kez players in existence today.
These are scary heroes to give early gold to. Monkey King with a good lane matchup, Kez with a good lane matchup, in a lineup that wants to play fast overall.
Yeah.
So if you're Vici, definitely going to have to put in some work. I did like the last pick, Doom. That did came out against the Chicken Man, one of the better answers that you have around. Because the hero, he's got too many spells, too many getaways, so Doom obviously is amazing. Also the anti-heal against the
How
Wyvern.
good is Monkey King versus Ember?
It is very good. Like
it is worse match. Okay, Viper and Huskar would be worse.
Yeah, Viper Huskar are definitely like worse. If OD was playable, probably that would maybe even be worse too. But the good thing with Monkey is that you own him in the lane. Whatever moves he goes to, you can constantly go there as well and like kind of just match it. And Ember wants to play off of tempo. And it's not just that. Sure, you have last pick Doom against the Kez, but Monkey King is a king of rotations, and heroes like Doom are incredibly slow.
Yeah. Now, already off to a good start is Chira Jr. See how much he can bully XM. And I mean, the panel's kind of talking about in terms of if he does need assistance, do they have the support duo to actually make a difference with the Mirana and the Undying? Undying is kind of just a walking decay.
Yeah.
Like he's more for the objectives like the Wisdom Shrine that we've been seeing time and time again.
Undying can be like good later when you have a couple of levels, but early on, it's more about how high HP are you. So if you can play this matchup fairly well on the Ember, if you get the Monkey King to like maybe 50% HP and you get a level in Slide Chains, you could call for Jin-Q to come to the mid lane, and if you find an opening, you absolutely can look for one.
And Y going to put down his tombstone, trying to go on top of Soxa. They get the avalanche from Shiro. Already a lot of action early as he's going to get a tree thrown at him. Attempting to run out, but the decay finishes the job. And DM's going to have to walk out as well as there's several zombies chasing him. In fact, this might be another kill going the way of Vici. He's going to pop the Fairy Fire to try to stay alive. And Y. Another decay coming for DM. Another couple of clicks as well. And that's a double kill for Y. Getting on the board for Vici Gaming. And it couldn't have come any sooner because they really need to, I mean, they were really in trouble.
You cannot give a player like Y such an opportunity. Guy's a TI winner for a reason. As DM, you know, he turns around, wants to go for a little bit of a click there as well to keep manning up. Plus, you know, Y will go for a little bit of a suicide just to refill himself, make sure he can go wherever he's needed.
Malady playing the Winter Wyvern, which has been an incredible hero in this tournament. A lot of times it's picked against the Axe, but it's with the Axe this time. What do you think about that?
No, it's also very good, right? Like overall, it's a great hero against Tiny. Like you have Arctic Burn, high HP, and also slowing the hero down. Cold Embrace and Curse also incredible against this hero. And I think it's also funny how specific matches will influence what you're going to do in your next matches. If you look at Vici, they lost to the Kateomi Undying twice yesterday. Now today they go into a game, they're like, yo, Undying, this is the stuff we want. If you look at Yandex yesterday, they ended up losing their final game to a Winter Wyvern Axe. You know, suddenly those heroes show up in their draft. So also need to understand that there's a lot of emotions and feelings that go into the heroes that you do want to play.
I mean, these players don't really show much emotion, though.
Oh, not outside of the game.
You're sure they're feeling it, though?
Trust me.
Okay.
When you're drafting and when you're playing, you feel it, and then when they get out of it, they're like, I want to play my next Dota game. Why are you talking to me?
Yeah. Bach left alone for the time being. Continued to do pretty decently. 13-2, not too far away in terms of CS from the rest of the cores in the game. In fact, across the board, it's kind of the case, but slight lead right now for Yandex in that department, and that shows in this 1K net worth lead so far.
It's kind of interesting that even with the double kill that Vici got down bottom, that Shiro is struggling when it comes to like the early CS. But honestly, Nature's Prophet is a very, very strong laning hero early on, as they are looking for a TP. So ruining XM's bottle refill here, as just kidding, doesn't even have that, as he's playing with early boots against the Monkey King.
Ah, yeah, you're right.
So, you know, maybe not the biggest steal, but still some HP and mana that you're taking out of his pool.
And XM right now sitting on 18-1 versus the 22-12 from Chira. So advantage Chira, but not as much as I was led to believe with this mid-match.
Well, he does have a lot of denies. I definitely do think that XM is doing a good job, like getting this many CS, like you're saying. And I wonder if overall also, just to talk a bit about the matchup yesterday, CJ in some of the games did look uncomfortable. I think the Monkey King game had like its ups and downs, but maybe there was something where Parivision also realized if we take out the spellcasters, which CJ looks incredible on, like especially his Invoker, Bach up top though.
Bach looks to be dead. Mali's going to save himself with a Cold Embrace. Now Jinkyu has to leap away. That was his last charge, but gets the distance needed. Chicken Man doesn't have all his spells at his disposal quite yet, but soon enough he'll have every mechanic in the game. A couple minutes away from that, as DM cutting the wave right now, the Axe special.
Yeah, and so while Undying is annoying for Axe, at this point he doesn't really do that much anymore, right? He's not good against the Treants. Okay, XM with a rotation.
Yeah, this could be a big kill coming out from Vici. Good Searing Chains with the Blood Grenade on top of DM. Getting a lot of these procs on the counter Helix, but he actually does get a good amount of farm. In the end, XM claims the kill. Another one going the way of Vici, as Soxa looking for the potential backstab, but guessed incorrectly on the route.
That's a very, very nice kill by XM. I like that, because when you have a bad mid matchup, you don't really want to stay there all that much if you don't have to. So this way, not only do you get to shut down DM, you can also go with your Undying together and actually get an early kill there, which is incredible. So yeah, Vici racking up some nice early neutral items.
But again, I'm just going to beat a dead horse here. Yandex, it feels like any game that they're slightly winning the laning stage, they will continue to snowball it. And you can see the network lead trickling in their favor. And over time, this, like out of nowhere, like 5 minutes from now, we're going to say this is a 4 or 5K lead, and that becomes actually substantial. As now the pressure onto the tier 1 mid won't result in the kill, but definitely some good heavy damage. XM is level 6 on his Ember Spirit.
Chill out, Shannon, gotta wait a bit.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's a bit early in the morning. All good.
It's never too early, let's be real.
As we have the Wisdom Shrine execution script here for Team Yandex. Bach already in some trouble.
Yeah.
Good arrow though.
Good timing. Mali's going to get the Cold Embrace of Chira Jr. looking to lock up this Wisdom Shrine. Y is there. And remember, Undying has been really good at contesting this. Wukong's command comes out, though, and that forces everyone out of the area. So Chira Jr. gets the Wisdom Shrine. Should be able to get out, although XM and Jinkyu still in the area coming from the north. Yeah, turns into a soldier going towards the south now. And now he's in a precarious spot. Is it going to be worth it? Because I don't think he's getting out of this. Going to try to get some Jingu stacks. Chira Jr. gets a nice Boundless Strike onto 2 to get back to full HP, and XM is threatened with his life now. Pops the Lotus to stay alive as Chira eventually gets killed off. But it took a lot to bring down the Monkey King.
Is a very nice turn play from Vici. They did lose both the Wisdom Shrines, which of course hurts you. Luckily, you know, you do get to kill CJ here to get a little bit of gold and a little bit of XP back. But like you said earlier, you know, when this team wins their lanes, they can of course play on very, very high aggression, and their draft is very good at that. Wonder if there was any way for maybe someone to just like linger a bit and help CJ out in this opportunity, because he nearly, you know, he was able to stand his ground for quite a while.
Yeah, I figured that they just assumed he was going to die right away, but that was obviously not the case. Is Jinkyu having a lot of fun? I love Jinkyu.
We all do.
This guy's always happy, even in a TI, whatever, Grand Finals, Game 5, debilitating defeat. He's still smiling.
Sometimes you just gotta, like, if you just, like,
awesome.
ever see this guy, he's always having a good time. And, you know, rightfully so. Bro is playing a video game, making a shit ton of money.
Nice avalanche, but Chira Jr. joining the party means that this is the end of Y for now. As he's back, thanks to that innate. But now the pressure on this tier 1 bot. 3K lead for Jens again. It's just this trickling of net worth funneling into the pockets of Yandex.
And you've definitely chosen that this, like, that you're kind of accepting this early to mid game Like, just imagine how these heroes play together early on, right? Like, Kez and Monkey King, they are very good at their lanes, and they love collapsing on lanes together. Your main tempo hero is the mid Ember Spirit, who is countered by the Monkey King. And you have a Nature's Prophet played by Saxa, who will just amplify all the building damage.
See, Malady trying to defend a bit here from XM, hasn't touched the tower yet. There's the top 3 networks in the game on Yandex's side. XM is kind of low. Gonna get a good amount of farm here, but will Remnant out as the tier 1 was taken out on the bot side. So Yandex, what's their next objective? They still have, I mean, that mid lane's already half HP, so probably going to group up there eventually.
No, definitely. It's going to be, you're going to look at a 10-minute rune, right? Especially with the Dominator. If you want on DM, you can send either you creep there or you can pull some waves down bottom. So 10 minutes each creep. You want to go mid. You can go for the active rune as well. And I think that even Watson can look on that. And if Doom oversteps in the top lane on Faith Beyond, you can definitely look at that lane as well. And I think if you're Vici, probably looking to fight maybe around the Tombstone. If Bach gets a team fight opportunity where he can TP in and just drop a Doom, I think that's what he would prefer. He doesn't really want to walk anywhere.
I'm just going to keep saying it. 4K lead. Oh,
3K, 4K.
okay, there you go. Something about these European teams, they are just so much better at min-maxing like in the early stages. It's kind of crazy to watch.
It's just a lot of like
Very
laning
methodical.
stuff. Okay, arrow.
Searing chains into the arrows. This will be the end of DM in all likelihood. Chiro joining for the avalanche kill. Nicely done from Vici. On the top lane, we're going to see the Raptor Dance come out from Watson, though, and now the slows continue on to Bach as he will burn away. So a 1-for-1 across the board. Both offlaners taken out.
Was a perfect timing on the Mage Slayer purchase, but Vici did get to strike back. Like, that's a nice curse.
Curse onto the Mirana. Balance Strike is in likelihood coming. Was waiting for the Jingu stacks, though. Now XM in a bit of trouble. The nice Balance Strike hitting both heroes. Jingyu extremely low. The last right click is enough from Malady, and now the pounce away, but Shira not able to close the gap enough. But this provides space for Watson and Saxa to take out the tier 1 top. As again, Yandex getting the better of these exchanges.
This also makes it very easy for them to just rotate onto the mid-tier 1, right? I would say that even since, like, especially the last couple months, maybe with, like, the safe lane being so strong, once you take the enemy offlane tier 1, it becomes so easy for your carry to just walk to the mid lane on any of the next plays. Potentially, minute 12 rune, you go to mid again, you make sure that XM doesn't get it. You start rotating on this tower with, like, Treants and a Dominator creep, and I don't really know what Vici can do about it at that point. They continuously need more time. Because if you look at Doom's quick buy, it's a Radiant, so it's not like you like that doesn't change much other than you become slightly stronger and of course you farm faster. Same for the Tiny, like you get Echo. Once you get Shadow Blade, then you can start making moves, so it's still all on XM. Maybe once he gets a Vessel, you can kind of like look to fight back a little bit.
Yeah, definitely slow heroes. But having said that, Vici will smoke.
They want to go onto DM down bottom. He has done a good play, though, overall. When you play in the offlane like this and you know they can't make moves in the other lanes, you want to pull the hard camp, kind of as he did, to make sure that if they go on you, you're like very close to your tier 1 tower, which they still have. And you can read this move, try to bait them a little bit in too deep. DM going quite aggressive, though.
Does show himself on the lane. You can see how hesitant Vici are. They just assume that there's more where that came from, but no, DM is all alone, and thus will be taken out. So a nice gank from Vici, although Saxa actually joining to try to maybe get some counter action as Malady joins the party as well with a curse, but won't result in a kill outright. As XM getting low along with Y. The right clicks from Saxa are actually nothing to scoff at. So they get the trade, but this time the favor going to Vici Gaming. I say that a little too early because the rest of Yandex have still arrived. And now Shiro getting hounded. He's going to get bashed up and beat down by the Monkey King. So still thought that was going to go Vici's way, but some way, somehow, Yandex get the better trade again.
It is decent pressure on the map. Like, if you look at it, Jingyu got to chip down the mid tower a bit, keeps getting farms. Same with Bach in the top lane. You know, some damage on the tier 1. And all of this stuff matters. It slowly builds up. Eventually, you get a tier 1. Maybe you get a secondary one. Because the net worth, at least at this point, isn't really going up that much. Yeah, it is 5K, but it's been around this area for a while now.
It looks like Faith Beyond ended up opting for the Talisman first, actually, which very good against Kez and Monkey King. Normally you'd see the Sacred Relic first, but definitely makes sense against these heroes, but still very far away from Radiance.
Oh yeah, it will take a while. They did see the gate rotations, and it is 14 minutes. So when you play against Yandex, you should know that the script is being executed, where they want to go to the Wisdom Shrine. Malady is on his way, but he's a little bit slow
Yeah, this is slower than usual.
on the Icy Dragon.
Needs to patch that. So we'll get the shrine for the Vici side this time around. And a Spirit Vessel being built by XM. And you talked about Shiro. He has the Echo Saber, and it's going to be the Shadow Blade next. No big surprise. And on the other side for Yandex, Kez, it's the Deso build. Already has the Mage Slayer. There's going to have double Deso, actually.
I mean, the thing is that these items are that good on those two heroes that I really don't mind. That you're having them on like one and the other. Maybe a Monkey King, you could go like Echo, BKB, but I think even then Deso is just too good. The build-up's too nice.
Do you know if the how do the stacks work if you're hitting the same target?
This I'm actually not sure.
I feel like in other, like for the old urn, you would not gain.
So it depends on, because it probably depends on who has the last Deso stack on them. I don't think you can both get it, because you can't Deso them twice anyway.
Yeah.
So I think whoever was the most recent Deso stack applier, that guy will get the Deso stacks.
Okay. Moonlight Shadow for Vici. As Shiro Jr. would be an incredible kill for them. Gonna try to set it up with that Flesh Golem. They're gonna get off the Wukong's command just in time, and the Winter's Curse is there as well. So Chira on the outskirts taking out the Tombstone and now kills off the Zombie Man himself. And now the Cold Embrace is gonna keep him safe despite getting arrowed. So Chira Jr. A-okay, and they find the call onto Shiro. That is bad news bears for Vici Gaming. As this Tiny likely to be swiftly taken out, so it's a 2-for-0 as Yandex now trying to get out Saksa. One Sleight of Fist would finish the job here. XM getting slowed, now getting stunned by the Boundless Strike. And now he's in a lot of trouble. They're going to pounce right on top of him. The
okay,
finally comes out onto Axe. So Vici Game trying to fight back, but Chira Jr. is there to slow down Bach. Looking for the deny at the last moment, but Bach finds the kill. It's going to cost him his life. After all that, a 3-for-1. Yandex favor again. Oh,
Saksa having a bit of fun.
Yeah, good stuff.
Sometimes when you're owning a bit too hard, you know, you got to put a little bit of a stop to it.
As Jin Q gets jumped on, still has the leap to work with. Arrow really low. He just gets destroyed.
Shout out to
single decay.
Shout out to Saksa. Cutting the tree as CJ just gets angry and jumps in there.
That was a rage death for Chira Jr.
Nicely done by Jin Q to kind of, you know, man up and understand the situation. But that was definitely not the Moonlight Shadow that overall Vici were looking for. They didn't have a Vessel Charge yet. The reason XM got a Vessel Charge is because he ended up dying in the fight. At least they now do have one, right? Against some of the tankier cores and the Cold Embrace as well. Because those are the moves that they should be looking for, right? You Moonlight Shadow, you try to find them nicely. I do think that CJ was very...
there's
Blink
the
call.
reveal. DM, XM in a bit of trouble. Is going to get the Sleight of Fist off at the last moment. They're going to turn their sights onto Y instead. No dunk in time for DM. He could just dunk XM, but he just dies of his own accord.
They got him again. I mean, he had a Remnant out, but they were all just sitting on top of it. It didn't really have all that much distance. So Yandex with some quick moves around the map. Even though DM has 5 deaths, his net worth is very, very high here on the Axe.
Yeah, second overall in the game, and you can see the separation between everyone and the Kez. Watson just owning it out 3-0 and 3 to start this game.
It's just this hero uses modifiers so well with Echo Slash. It makes it so easy to farm cams. Once you have Mage Slayer, you can kind of farm 2 cams. Once you have Desolator, you kill the Ancients very quickly as well. As they are looking for a couple more aggressive moves here with their 8k lead.
Is there a game you don't buy Mage Slayer on this hero?
Honestly, I don't think so. I think it's the best item build that you can go for because most of the time, aggression is a really good defense, especially on this guy. Like, Kez needs to link on top of heroes, right? You're incredibly strong. If you and this like tri-core of items is kind of Exodia. Mage Slayer, Deso into Ags. If you're top net worth, you are slicing through heroes in like 2 seconds.
I mean, you get magic resistance, which is good pretty much every single game. Yeah. Obviously, the farm capabilities coming up from the damage over time, and then lowering the damage of spellcasters. That's Bach. You can see this replay from earlier. Every fight, some way, somehow, Yandex comes out on top.
It is definitely overall easier for them to fight. Like, if we're looking at Vici, their best teamfight spell is Tombstone, and it's only level 1. You know, they rely a lot more on Moonlight Shadow. Okay, Mr. Bach.
Bach spotted, will be killed. First chop of the game for DM. And with that, we're approaching close to this Tormentor / Roshan timing that we're used to seeing for teams that have you know, 4 or 5K lead. This is a 9K. This is a dominating.
Oh yeah, it's a lot. This could be a turn kill though. They've got a smoke.
Yep, Sox is spotted, so they will get a trade of sorts.
And also, Shiro did get to complete his Shadow Blade, which is very good. Like, this item is a game changer. You know, it's not just a farming item. You will apply more pressure on the map. Maybe you can get a pick off here or there on the map. You also have Moonlight Shadow.
Now DM spots Shiro, gets off the call. As Chira in the area, but not going to fully connect. But this does force a couple of TPs out for Vici Gaming. And a Moonlight Shadow, in fact. But Yandex seem to be relatively aware of this, so they will kind of split the uprights and just get out.
Now you can see that Watson was drawing on the map. I think they understood, you know, when this blink call comes out, that was only to poke. DM never meant for any, like, real play to happen. So you know that there's some kind of reaction that Vici are probably looking to capitalize on. I like this build from Y. Not that often that we see like a Soul Rip Max into a Holy Locket. So just trying to keep, you know, the first guy alive when the Axe Call comes out. Of course, in other games, maybe you could try to get the same thing with the Shard. I think, you know, there's like 2 different ways to go about it, but he's got a Medallion. He's got a Max Soul Rip with the Holy Locket that he can then try to save the people that get gone on first. And I like this idea.
It's funny that we're seeing this Tombstone Shard come out early for every single Undying when it was ignored for so long. After the nerfs, like 2 years ago, I want to say.
It did have a bigger drawback, I think, back in the day. First of all, if it got killed with you in it, I think the stun was 4 seconds as opposed to 2. And I think you also couldn't, it took way longer for you to be able to exit.
Yeah, there was a little threshold window.
Yeah, so they recalibrated that one because that Shard used to be a meme. And at this point, it's actually pretty good.
Well, it used to be better, though. The grab ally days?
I think this one is better. I prefer this one. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Here could be the Shadow Blade.
Yeah. Oh, he gets spotted,
in a bad one.
though.
Bad way.
Kez is there to help clean up, but the nice avalanche going to cancel the Raptor dance, but Shiro is certainly dead anyway. So looking for a free kill ends up being the free kill.
Yeah, they've got a lot of protection and vision down here, right? First an Observer, then also a Sentry, so they do spot Shiro. Which is why it's important that you plaster your map with those sentries when you play against these Invis heroes.
At what point do you think they're going to start thinking about Roche and Tormentor?
Honestly, quite soon. Like, they could even do it. I think the Roche, maybe not yet. I wouldn't mind if they wait for, like, another item timing. Maybe kill a hero on the map first.
XM. Oh,
that's an Orchid
being revealed from Soxa into the call, into the Echo Slash, and into the kill. Beautifully executed by Yandex. But Chira Jr. getting gone on top lane, so a nice response from Vici Gaming. And Malady is looking for a potential curse. He's going to get doomed instead, but now Bach is going to get called up with Watson. The Chicken Man just right-clicking to his heart's content. The Orchid onto the Mirana. They're going to get several kills now. As the Mirana drops on the other side, as Y looks to be next, and the TP out successful from the Axe. So in the end, a 4-for-2 favor Yandex.
Quick turn play there by Yandex, right, to be able to TP up top, because initially that looked good, like trading your Ember for the Monkey King at this point. You should take that one.
14 charges already? What?
I mean, they're getting so many kills, like, on this entire map. Like, Watson has been in most of the plays that we've seen. As this was, of course, a pretty nice Orchid reveal. And I like that Vici, you know, they're not responding to mid. Instead, they were getting kills top, but after this monkey kill, you gotta call it quits. It is honestly time to just GTFO and call it. Don't look for any more.
Well, they did call it, but DM was the one doing the calling.
He did, which is a problem.
Yandex in full control of this game, number 1. Again, this is a 3rd place decider. You have club championship points and extra money on the line. Everybody likes a little extra money.
80K bucks, definitely nothing to ignore. It is annoying, like, obviously when you go out of the tournament, you're like, okay, it sucks, we can't really go any further. But the moment someone reminds you that there is actually stuff to play for, and obviously, you know, you want to do good, you want to show what's up, you want to still place higher and also do well and, like, prepare for a TI. And then you kind of get grounded and you're like, okay, bro, you're right, let's play it.
Sounds like you've had that conversation before.
People, you have this conversation like every team. It happens all the time.
Our first Tormentor finally being taken from Yandex. Shard will go to one of the supports.
Yeah, Saxa's kind of waiting. Had it queued up. He's like, I'll just wait.
All right. Well, you got the old growth now at it. Curse of the old growth.
It's quite nice. Like also just being able to spot people. You deal a lot of 8 damage, and I just overall like what they've done with Nature's Prophet. Like a few patches ago, they just made his innate a lot better. You don't need your Treants to be around you to take more damage. They also don't need to be around each other, which means Treants deal more damage, you deal more damage, and just better pushing, better network, better farming. I've always loved this hero.
He seems to be in a pretty good spot, actually.
Yeah.
I feel like normally he's either completely ignored in the meta or he's just the best hero in the game. And now he's picked, I wouldn't say even consistently, he's picked every now and then, and he's played both support and core. It's like the perfect spot.
Like, we've seen very good performances from carry, right? Both Satanic and I think Watson especially have looked incredible.
Yeah.
And you just have Giga net worth, and the hero just... It's one of those moments where you can definitely see if you have high net worth, you can make up for other things. Hero also has crazy stat gain.
Yandex with the smoke.
Have to
Looking
be
for a pickoff into Roche in all likelihood. Damage rune for Chira. Oh, XM.
Uh-oh.
XM looking for the call here. There it is. Into the Wukongs, into the Boundless, and another chop for the road for Yandex. And they're just going to go, well, thought they were just going to go straight to the pit, but maybe they stick around and get some wards.
They'll just wait for it as it's going to hit the 25-minute mark, right? Roche is going to go for a little stroll.
True.
Over towards the bottom half of the map. Saxa looking for some aggressive moves down here. Maybe looking to find the Tiny.
And they don't really have a crazy lineup to try to contest Roche on Vici. You do have the Remnants to be a bit annoying. Tombstone's always good. It's just getting spotted. So Vici taking advantage of kind of, I want to say, cockiness from Yandex, just sticking around in this area.
Yeah, that's a very nice pickoff, right? And this is why also, especially in the mid game, like doesn't matter if you're ahead or behind, planting proper observer wards is so important. They spot the M there, is even here. CJ, very aggressive.
Oh yeah. Shinkyu is spotted. Chira.
They kind of need Watson to be around.
Opening, they get the Boundless Strike with the Arctic Burn. Not going to be enough though. Has the leap, has the Greaves.
Because you can see, like, if you look at the two ways that the teams are warding, like Vici's wards are just like in the jungles, on high grounds, look at someone if they're split up farming, and you can tell for Yandex, it's more like the gates. They need to see where are they splitting. Are they going through the gate with like this tiny Shadow Blade, the Moonlight Shadow? Where do they want to pick us off? So while it's very, very different, it's very accurate for what the two teams need to kind of play for.
Have we ever seen in a pro game, I'm going to hold that thought, Chira pounding Saxa, has the vision though, and that's going to make him back away actually. We can see in the vision, he definitely would have gotten that kill.
Oh yeah. No, that was a nice play, right? Essence Distiller on the ground, you get the vision, you get to Orchid and force away there by Saxa.
Do you remember the thing from Dota 1, the video where the guy was pretending to be
an ogre?
The ogre? Have we seen that with Monkey King Roche?
I've definitely seen it in like camps with...
Oh, nice curse onto 3 heroes. Murana looks to be dead. The Boundless Strike keeps him in place. And inside the Tombstone, the Undying goes. It's only a matter of time before they clean him up as well. Soul Rip doing quite a bit to stay alive, but not nearly enough. Back up and running though, but again, a 2 for Nada.
Oh, that's just a quick double. This is why wards win games and why Monkey King and Wyvern work so well together. Easy setups for one another. You can drop the Wukongs on top. You can stack up some Jingu charges as well.
Essence Distiller onto Shiro. At the Vision, have to pop that BKB in retreat. Does have TP. We'll go into the Shadow Blade though. Looks to be fine.
Still good pressure, getting him out of there. In the meantime, you're taking Roche and you got one of his early BKB charges here down from Shiro. It's definitely all Yandex here.
How much can they get out of this first Aegis?
Honestly, everything. I think even without this Aegis, the whole map kind of belongs to them. So if they get any kills, I think within this Aegis, unless Vici find a really good defensive play, they should lose most of their tier 2 towers here. DM starting this fight.
Yeah, wide, chasing a bit, and destroyed.
Okay.
Let's look at those Deso charges for both respective heroes. 18 for the Kez, 10 for the Monkey King.
Yep, they're both pretty damn happy with those. Well, it is another one of those games where you can tell that one team just really isn't pressured that much, right? Especially Watson, 6-0 and 8 on the Kez, from a free lane into a free transition into this early game. Queuing up a Daedalus, he's got the Shift, he's got Aegis, he's got Aghanims. I don't know if he could ask for anything more, really.
As XM, trying to TP out, but they find him, and another death to his name. That is number 5 for XM. Feels like Yandex just getting every single thing that they want.
Well, everything kind of belongs to them. They have the gem. We've been seeing this a lot more, especially in this tournament, right here at EWC, where you get this 20-minute gem, you have the lead. DM with a good starting call onto Shiro again.
Shiro does have BKB. Will have to use it again to try to get away. Still gets pounded by Watson as Bach in the I was gonna say wrong place, wrong time. He gets off the Doom, might turn into a kill. It's still a big ultimate to be used on a support, looking for the deny. But Bach will claim him in the end.
Was a good try, but still a good kill. At this point, you take any kill if you're Vici. And dooming the Winter Wyvern, honestly, it's not that bad. Sure, I understand, oh, now they don't have Doom, they're gonna lose some towers. They're down so much, you're gonna lose some towers anyway. Like, take some of these kills, try to get a little bit of golden XP your way, keep delaying the game, because that's what you're gonna do anyway. And for Yandex, the complete opposite. They wanna play on full aggression. He might catch Bach here, no BKB.
Yeah,
he's gone. That's a free choppity chop chop.
If he can get it off, indeed he does. DM going to get gone on by Shiro, though, who's going to try to turn it around on Tekez instead, has the Undying putting himself in the tombstone. Again, the arrow being dodged from Watson, trying to stay alive with this Aegis, but he'll have to consume it. As Shiro Jr. going to come in. Can't do much with this tombstone, so we'll have to swiftly kill that. So Aegis is down.
Yeah,
Vici don't have Doom.
This probably feels okay. Like, by the time you have the next Doom, then it's good, right, that the Aegis is gone. But until then, you're definitely gonna continue. You have to give up the map. You can't really do too much here if you're Vici. But now that there is no Aegis, they could find a defense with the next Doom if they can find an okay jump onto Watson. You need to take this bird out of the game. I don't care about the rest. If you don't kill this guy, he will kill all of you.
And Fortification takes care of the wave here. And yeah, Yandex is gonna reset completely. And I wonder if they're just gonna continue to push, or if they just continue to just starve out the map and wait for the next Roche, because the next Roche is a ways away.
I mean, it's far away, so you're definitely not talking too much about Roche, as opposed to what you're saying is, it's far away, we have a good map lead, let's keep it that way, right? You have the gem, you have outpost control, you have an insane tower lead as well when it comes to what you have on the map and what they have on the map. And the only thing that Yandex kind of need to keep in mind is, okay, the play for Vici is they need to come out of a Shadow Blade or a Moonlight Shadow and try to doom one of our cores. That's why I also really like their itemization. You have both supports with 4 staffs. You know that they have to play off of Chain's Arrow, Avalanche Arrow, or Doom and run you down. So 4 staff fully can counter this if heroes are in the area.
And Doom is back online, and so with that, a smoke from Vici, but we can see on the minimap, Yandex not really close by at all at the moment.
That's just a tough one to catch, right? And they don't mind scaling that much, like if you're Yandex. Of course, Vici are happy if the game, you know, slows down a bit. You get a couple more items. You have Doom, who's very good, like Jinkyu as well. We know what he can do. Greedy Enchantment, you know, he's got the Partisan. He's going Aghanim. So, and we've seen Mirana scaling, so it's not a problem at all. Again, good macro play from Yandex, nice map control and good scan. They know that they're in the area.
And they find a Monkey King. Arrow's not gonna hit because of the BKB. They're gonna try to turn this around to Shiro instead. Gets balance struck as there's the DM initiation. Doom coming out onto the Kez. Beautifully done from Faith Beyond, but the Wukong's command onto 3 heroes with the curse as well. Wise the first to tumble. The chop on top of Bach. Already 2 dead for Vici Gaming. Shiro trying to get some consolation prize. He'll do so onto the axe, but it's gonna be likely at his peril. He gets brought back with that harpoon as Shiro harpoons himself to the other side, but it's not far away enough. And with that, this is likely to be a full team wipe, as that's 4 dead for Vici, and make it, well,
yeah, make it 5.
Beautiful fight from Yandex. Despite not having the Aegis, they lose a singular hero, and now the buildings will melt.
You can just see all the 4 staffs come in, right? 4 staffs loaded on Watson, who gets doomed early on. Sure, he doesn't deal a lot of damage, but he just gets to TP out, and then, you know, doesn't matter. CJ comes in, does all the work, even Saksa with 4k damage on the Nature's Prophet, as he's kind of he's a pretty big core in this game.
Yeah, it was a good Doom.
He's second network on post 4 Natures.
It was a good Doom target from Faith Beyond, but he was kind of isolated from the rest of his team, who were kind of stuck in that Wukong's command. There were just 3 members on the low ground that could never get back into the actual fight. So this is minimum 2 lanes. The tier 2 still up at top, so they still have time to go push that tier 2 at the very least.
There's probably the only way for Vici is you need to full commit on the Watson Kez. So they were poking CJ, like trying to get some stuff out of him. Yeah, I think they can kill this through backdoor and then just keep going.
do so.
We get a pike on Malady, maybe forgetting that he's a support, not a core. It's usually the core Winter Wyvern build.
Huh, interesting.
But maybe at this point, can kind of buy whatever you want.
Yeah, I think so. And now that they're relatively close to Roche, they probably wait for that and then just finish the game, put the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, I think you can just play a map where you force them to like run more so into you. I mean, you can see it here. Like they do get the Doom out in the back, but both the Wukongs and the Curse just kind of separating the fight like in such a like annoying manner for Vici. And it's just not that much damage. Like if Shiro doesn't get to hit, you need some right-click damage still into the Kez. Because Doom, sure, it's a lot of damage, but it's not enough.
Yeah, good attempt from Vici. I think this was their last-ditch effort, in all honesty. Yandex is going to have to screw up really bad for Vici to get back in this game, as Watson will claim Bach. 70 seconds. That's a lot of time. 30K lead for Yandex. As game number 1, a Stomperoo. We're the masters of these, huh?
We somehow keep doing it. I don't know if this is good or bad. I mean, for the teams, I guess, for one of them, it's horrible, and for one of them, it's great. Don't think I ever remember working a tournament where every series is a 2-0.
Well, it's not a 2-0 yet.
That is true. Saxa, I like this.
Vision. The call is there. Shiro already dead. No
so much damage.
They will likely call it here relatively shortly, and there it is. GG's as game 1 of this best of 3 goes to Yandex, and it was not close.
No, I feel like you can tell that they learned quite a lot from yesterday. Like, not just in the hero picks, but also overall. Like, even in those games against P-Vision, right? They look good. I think they had, like, they just kept it together a lot more. Vici seemed to struggle a bit. I think what you could change for the next game is make it a bit easier to fight into what Yandex have going. You know, we know all the CIS teams, they lane very well, but they also use this early advantage. If you don't have a way to hold your ground, fight the early Wisdom Shrine, or fight the second one, or have mid-game team fighting, it is so difficult to play Dota in this meta.
It feels like Yandex plays this very methodical style. They're, again, a lot of these European teams, they win the laning stage and they just never give up the lead. It's just like this ever-trickling flow of net worth going in their pockets. And Extreme, they pick a really slow lineup, so if you get off to a bad start, Vici Gaming rather, if they get off to this slow start, it feels like they never actually recover.
It's just the macro movement and like overall play from a lot of players, I think is very good. It's not that easy to squeeze in plays on Yandex, and it is also something you have to commend them for, right? Like even when you're smoking out, when you're Moonlight Shadowing, it's a 1-for-1 trade, or they even get the better. But yeah, if I'm Vici, I would be looking to make it more easy, make it more simple. XM needs to make all the moves, but he's against Monkey King. You can play like that, make it easier, make other people also be the playmakers so you can sync up more nicely, because Yandex, they just seem to be better.
Yeah, they've been way better, at least in this game number 1. And yesterday, Vici did not turn up either. I feel like, what's the difference between what they were doing earlier in the tournament and what we've been seeing the last couple of days? Because these have not been close.
To me, they seem a little bit slower. I think also that, especially, not to throw any shade, I think Faithbjorn had insane games in the series that they won. And I think right now, there's a lot of shutdown being happening on him, right? Early Monkey King rotations onto his lane. Yeah. He's a Night Stalker losing his lane. He's a Doom losing his lane. And the offlane is a very critical part of all of these lineups. And he's a very critical player to this team.
See DM licking his lips in joy for this game number 1.
He's focused and in the zone. I mean, yesterday, he should be a little bit angry. You know, yesterday what I saw, P-Vision, after they won the game, Dookie Duke didn't give him the handshake. I would be a bit pissed. I want to stomp everyone from now.
That's right. Well, this was certainly a stomp. Let's go to the panel so they can try to wrap this one up.
Thank you, Suns fan and Kezu. Great cast on that one, boys. Not necessarily a great game. What we were expecting, maybe 2 teams on the path to redemption, 1 team clearly out in front. It's going to be up to this next one for Vici to turn it around. My name is Randy. I'm hosting this desk alongside 2 gentlemen who know what they're talking about, BSJ and Lacoste. And yes, we do have the same stylist. I have to keep saying it every time we come on. Great choice, by the way. Maroon looks good on both of you.
It's a great choice for you as well.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. You as well, Dominic.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You too. Not coordinated.
You can't make it up. Sheaver's wearing maroon too. You'll see in just a second. Not to give it away, but you'll see. It's just the color of the day, Brian.
Clearly, the color of perhaps blood on occasion for Vici Gaming here in game 1.
Possibly.
I mean, there were There were a lot of concerns I had with that draft from Vici Gaming. I think a lot of it was down to tempo, Nature's Prophet with the split push, as well as the pressure that he applies early and like global. And I think Yandex, they learned that lesson the hard way yesterday against P-Vision, prioritizing just general map mobility, having more heroes at one place at once. And it felt like they almost always had them outnumbered, especially in the early game, and that's just a hard place to fight from, where your main source of tempo on your side, the Ember Spirit, is against a counter matchup, and that's just a position I wouldn't want any team to be in, let alone against Team Yandex.
Yeah, a lot of the times against these Eastern European teams, you can't allow yourself to lose 3 lanes. The way this game starts is they give away first blood, tiny dies. They already on paper have like 3 losing lanes. Maybe the bottom lane can draw, but other than that, it feels like they're not going to be able to punch back. It's a super greedy draft, and I think against a team like Yandex, you can't really allow yourself to just go and farm for 20 minutes. Your Doom is also getting Radiance as his item. Sure, he's getting the value against Monkey King, against Kez, the mischance is nice, the damage, of course, but I feel like you can't draft like this against these super speedy teams.
Can you take much from this game then, because both of you mentioned tempo being a big issue for Vici? You also, I mean, from the very beginning of looking at their draft, you were hesitant to say very slightly, like, I'm not sure what they're going to do here. Kezu asked that they need more mid-fight possibilities. Even if they bring a draft this well, they need to be able to have an answer. Could we see what Vici can bring there, or did the draft kind of doom them from the start?
I don't think they do. I think the support duo is very weak playing. Yeah, we talk a lot about the position 4 and 5 playing with the mid laners, because this is going to be like in the first between 5 and 15 minutes, this is going to be the pairing kind of. And this time around, it really isn't that much synergy, other than, of course, Arrow with the chains, which is nice, but you're also playing in a very difficult matchup for you. And Undying is not a hero that likes to rotate. Like, we've seen some good stuff from Undying with the Holy Locket, with the Maxed Soul Rip, trying to prolong these fights, but it's not enough, because every single time you play against these global lineups as well, they're going to be bringing in heat. They're going to be bringing extra numbers in every single engagement. That's why Malady talked about it in an interview. That's why we're seeing like Dawnbreaker last picked when this hero is really good, especially with these lower damage lineups. There really isn't much to offer in these mid-game fights, because your damage is a little bit slow. It's damage over time from Ember, from Doom, and how many times we've seen Winter Wyvern just completely resetting the fight.
Yeah, I mean, he literally had to Doom Winter Wyvern like 3 or 4 times because of how effective she was for a support.
Yeah.
You know, I think I mentioned the preemptive counter picks that the 2 teams in the finals are utilizing throughout the playoffs, and I feel like this Nature's Prophet has served as a block pick as well to a lot of, like, historically, Nature's Prophet support was one of the few heroes in the game that can actually trade with Undying in lane. That's pretty much the entire power of Undying as a 5, is he's meant to win you your lane, but when the enemy 4 who's already been picked, that is a flex, so you don't even know if it's a 4, already deals with one of the most powerful portions of the hero's game. This is just kind of the example where now the first start is we start the tournament with what are the best heroes in the meta. The next step is what are the heroes that are good against the heroes in the meta. The next step is what heroes are good in this meta, and they block pick other heroes in this meta, and that's where we're at right now. And I think that Yandex just seems a step ahead. Even just opening Nature's Prophet, I think, says such a statement of what they learned yesterday. Yeah. And I don't think Vici Gaming got the same lesson, it looks like, so far.
Yeah, they were hurt by globals, right? But
yeah, most definitely. And I don't even know if this Nature's Prophet was support in this game, because in the mid game he was ahead of Ember Spirit, he was ahead of Monkey King as well, and then when the game was about to end, he was pretty much second on the network. He got the shard and he continued to farm up, also itemizing for the Orchid, getting that early Orchid, getting the value immediately, getting the kill on Ember Spirit, and they always scale. Like, they scale from position 5, like Yatro talked about it in his exit interview about them having a better scaling lineup, where Undying still scales with this Blade Mail Heart build that he did go for. This time around it was Saksa who opted to go for a more scaling build, and it feels like in these type of games you're just going to be getting way too much value out of it, and also forcing Ember Spirit. Like, you see this early Orchid Ember Spirit, of course he's playing the losing matchup in the mid lane, and then he's forced to buy an item that he doesn't want to buy, so he buys a Yule Scepter to try to remove that Orchid, and it just feels lackluster in a lot of these situations where, again, you don't have enough damage, you're itemizing to like very defensively, which you kind of need to, but this is what the other picks on the other side are forcing you to do.
Yeah, too much to do, too little time for sure when it came to that matchup as well. CJ gets another Monkey King win. That's his second playing that hero, so something good for Yandex that they're figuring out. One more game, they'll close the set out. But Brian, you were looking at some clips heading into this one. I want you to break down what you saw.
Yeah, so we talked about the dynamic of the pace of the game. We talked about the dynamic of playing the map. I want to show this because this is one facet of Undying, and this is Vici basically getting the one fight. Like, they're getting the initiation. They're taking the fight to Yandex. This is exactly what their lineup's been waiting for. And I want you to see the ways that Undying gets countered. First and foremost is when you lay that tombstone, there needs to be some way to actually reliably kill it. They're going to Winter's Curse the Undying, which is going to free up the time for the Monkey King to just kill the tombstone, and then the Wukong's on top of that is another like territorial spell, which is going to cause the rest of Vici to not confidently commit to this and instead retreat. And when you're retreating against Axe, against Monkey King, against like Kez isn't even in this play, but against these like high mobility lineups, that's just never going to go well for you. Monkey King will always catch you. You feel like you're on the back foot, and when you have a hero like Undying that's meant to literally get on top of you, force you to run away, you don't win that fight, and then you have a way to completely negate that. It's like at that point, I know they have the lead, but if you can conceptually counter a hero like this, then I just don't see how, like, Vici Gaming's really, it's going to be tough for them to make plays.
Box said that getting to this position, there was intentional learning that he wanted to do in the survival stage. He wanted to get to the survival stage so they could kind of play this gauntlet and learn about this team heading into TI, which they will be at. But what do you take away from this, Brian? If you are on the side of Vici, what can you learn from this loss? It was bad. You weren't really in it, but what can you glean to move into game 2?
To move into game 2 is a tough one because, you know, you only have about 15, 20 minutes to come up with that. For me, like, I know we talk about the draft a lot. I think there is gameplay that related in the game itself, but for example, you picked Tiny as a response to Nature's Prophet. I think they picked Undying afterwards because Tiny's pretty bad against Undying, and Undying Treant, Nature's Prophet's a really strong lane. So you're like, we have to take it from them, but then it's bad against Nature's Prophet, and then you're like, I guess we can't give them Nature's Prophet, like, because the way we envisioned our draft going, it just doesn't work. So it's like something that you can only really see in hindsight after it plays out, if you weren't prepared for it. And so I think at least removing the Nature's Prophet would be like the #1 adjustment I would make going into game 2.
Now, if you have to add to that, I'm happy to hear it. But if you're looking at Yandex's side, I was going to get your opinion, Lacoste, on what they take away from this, because they clearly had an issue yesterday. They're kind of suffering the sting of not being in finals. They're a team we know could have been in finals, and it seems like they've made some good adjustments here in game 1. Is it more of the same for game 2?
Yeah, I feel like they, because you only play one series a day, like, throughout the whole tournament, pretty much. So this is the team that can definitely, like, they had a smooth sailing through the up until a point where they met P-Vision, and their ideas, they were working. They got slightly shut down earlier, and this is the team that definitely learned from the mistakes, and we are definitely seeing it today. And coming into the second game, I think it's gonna be the same thing. I do think they have the upper hand in the drafting, because you are seeing kind of these bait picks that are coming out where they set up like, let's say a perfect game for Doom. You're like, oh yeah, man, it's such a good Doom game because you're playing against Fiverr and you're playing against this 23 Kez, and then you end up with a draft that doesn't really do much. Like, it's kind of falls apart 10, 15 minutes into the game. And also, I think people need to put slightly more respect onto potential counters for Ember Spirit in the mid lane, because we've seen this year, like, even being first phase and still winning the game, because some teams, they don't want to be picking the counters. And we do see some of these more experienced teams, they're like, you know what, we're going to be bringing some blast from the past, picking up this Monkey King like they did yesterday, like they did today, and it looked good in both of these games.
Is Hero Pool playing a little bit of a factor here? Do you feel that that's the case? I mean, you have so much experience on the side of Bach and Xingqiu and this roster on Vici. I mean, obviously you would imagine that they've seen it all, done it all. But what do you think is kind of coming down to maybe the hesitancy there to have some of those picks?
So I feel like Vici has had some really creative ideas for specific problems in the meta. Like I mentioned, like the 3 phases of meta heroes, then what's good against meta, then what's good against blocking, picking these others. I feel like they're kind of on phase 2. Like, they've done a great job of that, and I think that's why they strategically were able to surprise teams like Team Falcons and make it this far in the tournament. And I don't have experience as a coach of how you go from step 2 to step 3. I don't think it's a limitation of hero pool. I think a lot of times it's like, if you have a Monkey King, it's not just about can your player play Monkey King. It's like, does your team know the timings of Monkey King? Are they able to follow him into the jungle and enable him? Is he on the same page as you when he's playing this? And I think even though this is a team of veterans, they did finalize their roster only a few months ago with Xingqiu adding, even though some of them have history together. And there is a clear amount of cohesion that's coming from Team Yandex, having played the entire season, most of the season together, other than DM.
And Bach had kind of admitted too, again, it's about kind of getting all these ideas that are great and experience, but having cohesion on what idea we want to try to execute.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what's happening right now.
On that. So there may be two people having more conversations. We'll see. But there's no doubt Vici Gaming has had a fantastic run here into today's third place match. And it might be having to do with Bach's newfound passion.
我曾是世界冠军，我已经赢下了所有能赢的荣誉。但是现在，我的内心在渴望着更遥远的东西。我曾试图挣脱这一切。
Oh, and I'm just reading here. Faith Beyond is retiring from competitive play.
但想要逃离并没那么容易。至少在过去是这样。直到我找到了自己新的天命，去重铸我的信仰。我的内心涌现出了太多的情绪。
Don't become like me. Be better. I play 20 pubs a day. You've got to get out.
I'm trying it, Sebastian. I just want to spread my wings. It took me a long time to realize, but I think I know who I really am now.
Yeah? What's that then?
Well,
he thinks he can come in here and play my game. Let's go. He knows nothing. Let's go!
Tyler Wine, you're done.
Raw energy. House from blow the house down.
I am happy, but also a little bit dismayed to introduce another well-known member of this panel who happens to just have not gotten our styling memo this afternoon. We'll mix it up a little bit. Gorg, welcome to the desk. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. You guys look great also, yeah. Mine got lost in the laundry, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. I think that's what it was. They should have had it on time for you.
Too bad.
But we're excited you're going to join us for the draft, so it'll be fun. How's the stream been so far?
It's been great. I love the setup. There's a big crowd today. It's good energy here. I can feel it.
Hey, did you take a look at that first game? What were your thoughts coming out of just the dominant performance we saw from Yandex?
I mean, honestly, I was hoping to come into the day to have like a little bit of like France versus England yesterday, you know? Like,
yeah, man.
A lot of back and
You're
forth.
speaking my language.
Everybody loose and ready, but I feel like Yandex came in like professionals today.
Yeah.
Clinical performance. Didn't give much of a chance for Vici to do anything.
And I'll ask this because I've talked to these guys already and the draft's coming, so I'll have plenty of time to go back and forth. But did you feel that Yandex came in with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder? A little bit of, we should have been in that final. We should have played better. Definitely. And that's why they're showing up.
Definitely. I think the knife cuts both ways here. Either if they have the mentality, we should have been in the final, this could defeat them.
Yes.
Or it could motivate them to actually show what they got. And I think they came in with the right mentality today.
It's exciting stuff to see. Obviously, the draft's starting to take away, guys. So it's a big game. Vici Gaming going out if they can't solve it here, Brian.
Yeah, like they did make the adjustment. I wasn't sure if they recognize or if they agreed with me that that was the problem in draft 1, which was the Nature's Prophet as well as the Invoker. It's funny because for me, I would not have made this connection until I don't know if Malady realized how much insight he gave in that pregame interview, because he doesn't always say very much, but he literally said P-Vision used global heroes better than we did, and then I'm like, huh, Invoker has been very popular. Nature's Prophet's been sprouting in popularity, and now we're seeing Lone Druid, a hero that was usually banned throughout the course of the tournament, getting picked up. But I think Yandex was the team that beat it. Yes, in the group stage, they allowed it through 4 games in a row, and they beat it all 4 times. So they're very comfortable. They either go for like the Underlord or the Enigma. Yeah, both of which are in the pool.
Yeah, they attempted this very answer against P-Vision yesterday as well. They've tried this Enigma historically against Lone Druid. I just don't really understand the counter. As far as I had it explained to me, I had Boba on. He said that you basically just survive the lane and try to pressure the hero through +5 rotations through the gate, and just try to bully the hero as much as you can the first 10 minutes.
I want to see if they're going to be putting respect onto Winter Wyvern, because this was the lane that they lost to, where DM didn't really get too much out of that lane. It's like pretty much anything paired up with Lone Druid just going to feel almost impossible to play against, whether this is some Treant Protector, Lich, or Winter Wyvern. So I want to see what the approach is going to be, and because we are in the meta where offlaners are not really getting too much out of the lane. People have trying to tier to craft. That's one of the reasons why I've seen like some of these creep skippers, like Centaurs, of course, Axe, and some of these heroes that can pull the lane back like Enigma can.
That's an interesting hero. You mentioned Centaur. That's ignored now, when it was banned many games in a row, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering, like, so we saw Enigma yesterday not beat the Lone Druid, but you mentioned the Wyvern being a factor. I also wonder, because I think Enigma traditionally pairs better with the melee fours, the ones that want to be more active in playmaking, because this hero is relatively chill and passive in his lane, and he needs somebody to bring the fight so that he can follow them in. And yesterday, they had already picked a Keeper of the Light in the draft, so you have like a Coddle Enigma. Yeah, I can like push the wave and pressure that way, but Lone Druid sustains very well, doesn't really mind that sort of thing. If I were to see like a Tusk or like a Spear Breaker or Clockwork or something, I think that might be a better, you know, formula for success against Lone Druid, but I'm curious what their adjustments are. Will they ban the Wyvern like you guys mentioned? We'll have to see.
I mean, if they want to pick it, they could potentially pick it. I'd be okay, because it's a setup for the Black Hole. It's one of the better heroes against Lone Druid as well, because he's all about the physical damage, except for Mjolnir procs, of course.
Gorg, what do you think is most important here if you are on the side of Vici? Because I want to talk about what could even make this a comeback. Who has to feel comfortable? Who do you have to kind of prioritize getting into the right spot?
The XM is my star player of this team. I need him to overperform. It's sad that he gets his Lina taken out, but he must have another ace up his pocket. I hope so. I don't know where Yandex are thinking so much, because that's what I'm thinking about now. They're banning Timber. I was expecting them to ban Centaur. So now Vici potentially is going to get Centaur and Lone Druid, a very dangerous combination. But they have something planned for it, I'm sure.
Lacoste, do you agree? I mean, I keep mentioning this combo just because it's a team that we've seen. XM getting comfortable. Is that important for Vici at
Oh,
this
absolutely.
point?
This is the dude that gets his ideas from TikTok, watching these shorts, and this is where the mid Lina with Dagon came from. But also, it's very important, jokes aside, because the games that they've been winning against one dub against Falcons, he did have the winning matchup.
He's
playing Lina, playing Slark, playing all of these lane dominators, playing Earthshaker against some melee matchups as well. So definitely you want to be giving this guy winning matchup, because he's been known to dominate them with his snipers, with his Vipers, all of these nasty things that he can bring out to the mid lane.
Yeah, there's the most aggressive +4 pick pretty much, the Hoodwink, and I'm expecting also to have it paired with the +5 for Yandex is going to be able to rotate on this Lone Druid and punish him, because later in the game, honestly, these two heroes don't interact that well with the bear. A lot of pressure going to come out from Yandex through this Enigma pick. That's how DM plays it. I've seen DM play 40-minute games, and he missed every single black hole, but he still wins, because he plays in a certain way that where he plays around pressure on the map with Eidolons and auras and such.
Yeah, over the years, they've given this hero like a shard that spawns new Eidolons on creeps, so they've given him, he also become much more of like an aura buyer rather than just like a blink BKB. The identity of Enigma has changed a lot.
Yeah. Where do you see him, Brian, so far?
I would say that I was really curious because Gork mentioned the Timber ban as opposed to the Centaur Warrunner ban. I was like, why would they ban this? And I know that Enigma and Hoodwink, nothing feels. These are heroes that defend themselves as well as be aggressive with their spells, but they really defend like their threat of spells. The last thing they want is a hero that throws himself in front of you and then says, I don't care if you cast all your spells on me.
Yeah.
And so I can see how Centaur is good at that too, but now I'm like, why Timber? And I think Timber is the ultimate best hero for that. And I think yesterday they did just get ran at. They picked like a Phantom Lancer for Watson on the carry role after the Enigma, and I think they're kind of trying to avoid the map collapse that we saw yesterday.
Earth Spirit, Crystal Maiden coming in. How do we feel about that?
I saw that reaction from Lacoste. So
yeah, I don't think I've seen a single Crystal Maiden this event. I also am wondering what's the idea behind it.
It's all about letting loose, I think. You know, they're trying to
4-6, huh?
Let it go.
Score a lot of goals. Just finish this thing up. Have some fun.
Let Mbappe shine a little bit.
Yeah. That's absolutely true.
Yeah, to beat a better team, I think you always have to experiment a little bit. You can't just go back to the same thing you've been doing the whole time. Yandex have prepared for this. Poppy's very good about that in drafting. He always sets these traps where he makes you play something you're uncomfortable with by letting through way too many heroes. Oh, Wyvern Tiny, okay.
Tiny on Shiro last game actually did okay on the Tiny, but couldn't put it together as a team. Got a lot of isolated picks, and then they would 3 of them fall right after that.
Wyvern is just great against the bear the whole game. Basically, now that they changed the slow, the Arctic burn on him, you can just hunt this bear around, and he gets very slowed. Teammates have time to connect, and you can gank it when it's trying to split push.
So is this Earth Spirit mid? Is this XM?
Yeah, most likely. I mean, we've seen people run it post 4 too, so I'm not going to jump to conclusions yet. But most likely, yeah, it's XM. It's a great hero for him if he snowballs the lane here. We don't know what his pairing is yet mid. It could be the Tiny, but most likely they're going to pick another mid on Yandex after. So this 18 pick is the most important pick. I think this is going to define the game.
I mean, I'm a little surprised that it's still Centaur in the pool without getting touched.
Yeah.
Beastmaster can work as well. Like, it's not an easy pick because you're going to be like, you have a lot of things to cover here. On 18, you are playing against Tiny, you're playing against Break Mechanic, double BKB, piercing ability, physical damage reduction from Wyvern.
Yeah, this is where the Timber ban starts making sense, right?
Yes.
Like, I feel like, what do you pick into Tiny Wyvern? That's not an easy lane to deal with.
I'm wondering if they go for something like Underlord, the global presence, the control and fights. I was thinking more on the utility side because all the initiators felt really awful. I wasn't really thinking Largo. How do we, because he's kind of a farm heavy hero in the early game as well. I feel like they're kind of, both games, they have so far 5 cores that just want to farm for the first 15 minutes of the game.
Does this solve something that they were missing though in terms of fighting with the Largo? Initiation, escape, does this do enough for you?
Not really, I guess. Like, I mean, it's interesting because in the past, Dispels used to be insanely good against Wyvern because you would just, she puts the Arctic Burn on you, which is a lot of damage over time in lane, and you would just remove it. But now you can reapply it.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what the vision of this lane is. If they pick like a very aggressive position 4 with it, there's a chance you could maybe catch Wyvern out of position with the lick, but what are you seeing, Gork?
I think it's the playing around XM theory. I think they're playing for the Largo buff on the Earth Spirit and hoping he takes from
the third spell, like the spell amp buff?
Yeah,
okay,
I think Largo, people have a misconception about the hero because the Aghanim used to be so broken. He's more about the third spell now to have something to amp. Earth Spirit's great. And about the lick later on, you basically use it as a save in the dispel. I would say this game, there's not a lot to dispel, but like you said, the Arctic Burn, you can still save from Maledict and Bushwhack. It's not too bad, but yeah, they're playing around XM with this, I feel like.
Does it remove Bushwhack when you lick somebody? Like, does it pull them away from the tree?
I think so, yes.
That's pretty good. I mean, that's honestly pretty good. Because that's like their main setup for the main early, because the Tiny won't come online until later.
The Zeus ban was a heads-up play, so they do expect this Earth Spirit to potentially be post 4. Or maybe they're thinking the Zincu post 4 Zeus, which did cheese that one game.
Yeah, he definitely did.
Yeah.
That's like a ban where I feel like you watch that game and you say, I just don't want to be a part of that game. Like,
no way.
Is it as much are you afraid of it, or is it more like, that's not the type of Dota we want to be playing today?
A lot of options here. Largo picked last. Kez gotten rid of a little earlier as well. That was a problem last game. Vici trying to make amends and also trying to set themselves up for success in what could be their final game before they go home.
Yeah.
Interesting Rubik ban from them, seeing that there's so many good spells to steal in this game, like big ultis, Wyvern ulti, Black Hole, even Avalanche early on, like we've seen in this matchup. Tiny just having 1 point in Avalanche because it can be pretty difficult. This is like the cheapest, the best spell early on you can steal.
Mirana is still in the pool. Zincu could run it back. It's not a terrible Mirana game. Maybe he wants something else against Wyvern.
I'd lean more towards Willow, perhaps, like offering some damage through the Cold Embrace, and
that could be good too. I don't mind that.
I've seen the lick into the bramble. It sounds kind of memey. Yeah,
the Willow.
I think it's the best like aggression pairing if that's what they were going for.
You still have a bit of an issue here, I think, with you didn't really address BKB Black Hole with this lineup.
Yes,
it's a little bit iffy. I feel like not having a BKB piercing cancel, but they can make it work through tempo. I think it's very annoying when you put the brambles down in lane. You try to run away and you get licked right back into another one. It's super annoying. A combo for sure.
What about some Pango? Maybe Earthshaker coming out for Yandex. I feel like any AoE damage, and these two supports, they kind of don't have any escape mechanism. Like I feel like if you just shut them down, Pango, like we haven't seen him much in the group stage. The hero became more popular during the survival stage and the playoffs, still bringing in the old classic.
I like the Pango because you guys literally said there's no BKB piercing Black Hole cancel. What better than a hero that has a built-in BKB that disrupts the fights? I think, honestly, this is a game where you roll in and they just have to ignore you for 9 seconds.
I don't mind that pick. We can see they've been going pretty heavy on lane countering for Chiro Jr. lately. So maybe they'll find, obviously the Monkey and the Slaughter were both banned. So there's the Shaker, the AoE damage, the lane counter. It fits all the criteria they need. I don't think they really address Lone Druid that much this game though. We'll see. If it goes late enough, I can see Vici having a chance still.
Game was over close to 35 minutes though. At about 24 minutes, it was the 10K lead. At about 32, it was 20K for Yandex. So trying to get the tempo problem solved.
This is the difference between what I think is the top 2, top 3 teams here. But once they get a lead, they hold on. They don't let go. And yeah, we'll see. The lanes can be kind of tough here.
Yeah, for sure. I think the two completely opposite drafts of what they want to do and what they're bringing to the table, where Yandex, they have insane amount of team fights. So I feel like Vici Gaming, they're never wanting to take a full team fight against Yandex. You have Shaker, Wyvern, and Black Hole on top of that compared to the other side. So I think they're going to be playing off of the Lone Druid Aghanim Scepter, try to get a pick-off, play with the Earth Spirit Willow, and try to get a pick-off and then play 4v5, because in 5v5, I don't think they can win.
I think Vici has a much better chance with the draft they have this game. Like last game, I was just like, how do they ever make plays? Like conceptually, the enemy lineup also deals with their plays. And I feel like in this one, yes, they can't deal with the BKB Black Hole, like Gorsh said. But if they manage to use the split push of the bear, create a bit of chaos on the map, I think Vici has playmaking potential. And when they've had that throughout this playoffs, they've definitely capitalized on it.
Tempo, mid-fight. Those were the things Vici needed to answer. Gork, because you're joined us here, we won't see you again. Did they answer it in your eyes, or is this going over after 2?
I think Yandex are too professional. We'll see. I have some hope for them. I don't want to give up on them.
Okay.
I'm a big believer in Yandex still on this one.
Well, hope and Vici Gaming go together. China's last hope as well. And Yandex looking for a little bit of revenge after yesterday's loss to P-Vision. Can they go 2-0 here and in their tournament run at EWC? Well, we'll find out in just a moment. Let's send it back over to our casters, Sunsfan and Kezu, for Game 2.
Thank you very much. Indeed, Game 2 is upon us. Vici Gaming versus Yandex, and it was a spanking in that game. One. I don't think there's another adjective that can be used. Can they come back? Can they win with Lone Druid? Because typically speaking, we talk about Vici being too slow. Do you think, I mean, obviously Lone Druid is quite slow. What about the rest of their lineup?
Largo is somewhat slow, but they can this time pick up the pace, I think, with the rest, right? You have Dark Willow, you have Crystal Maid, and also this round XM on Earth Spirit, which can be a very, very fast-paced hero in the early game. But most importantly, not just for what they have, I think Yandex's draft is way slower than last game. It's not some Monkey King and Kez that are gonna, you know, auto-win their lanes and then run you over. So while I do have a couple of question marks, you know, for instance, the CM with the Lone Druid, I think they will smash the Eidolons like level 1, 2, and 3. But later on, I think Eidolons are very strong against the Zane. And if you have to use your spells all the time on Eidolons, and there's a Hoodwink on Saksa counterspelling it all the time because you don't have any defensive spells, could run into some trouble.
Yeah, DM, I mean, one of his best, if not his best hero in the Enigma. And we've talked about that hero, extreme late game. No other hero you want to go up against, that's for sure. But Earthshaker does feel like it's one of these hit or miss, I want to say, where very momentum based. So Yandex getting off to a good start, I think it's going to be pretty important. I mean, you could say the same thing for the Earth Spirit as well, though.
Yeah, that's why, like, what I'm going to be interested in is how does the post-laning stage go? Because Earthshaker, while he can be somewhat slow because he needs his blink, he is picked in a counter matchup, right? You will beat the Earth Spirit at least a little bit. But both Enigma and Shaker, if you can't really play through their lane, they're quite slow. So they could be in a scenario that Vici were actually in the last game where, you know, the Earth Spirit can run around with the Dark Willow, with the CM. You end up making a lot of pressure, like, overall on the map. So I do like Vici's chances a lot more in this game too.
And who's supposed to win this mid lane between the Earth Spirit and Earthshaker?
It's Shaker favorite by at least a bit, right? You always have the totem. It's also Shaker against a melee hero. Obviously, it's not as bad as like Monkey King against melee. So overall, you're just gonna rack up some denies. XM, he will get what he wants though. You know, he will still get a lot of CS. He will get the XP. So I think neither of them will care that much.
And how much pressure do you think the Lone Druid's going to be in this game? Because we've seen not just Shiro, but many of the Lone Druid players just get off to such a bad start and never recover.
So we see the two mid laners, you know, going toe-to-toe. But of course, get a Fairy Fire on XM. But Lone Druid, you should be very fine early on. Then I think later it will depend a lot on some small support rotations. And if I'm Enigma Hoodwink against this lane, like once I get level 3 or at least level 5, I'm starting to eat this Radiant lane for breakfast. So if the early waves aren't that good for Vici, which currently they definitely are, you know, both the Entangling Claws plus the Nova will pretty much clear the Eidolons, at least in the early levels.
Well, Soxa giving some nice solo XP to DM.
Yeah.
He's now about to hit level 3. Not too far away.
Because if you find a way to get an early level 3 or they use their spells, suddenly, like when they run in to use their spells, you just go with a Bushwhack Malefice onto the CM, you've got a lot of pressure.
Yeah,
Vici don't find a nice move.
Yeah, Crystal Maiden is in the vicinity. It's going to be trouble for Soxa early on. One more right click will do it. Can they close the gap? The Malefice last proc enough to prevent that from coming to be almost the first blood there for Vici Gaming. As Mal is going to pop his Fairy Fire, Avalanche to buy him some space as well. So far, Vici Gaming being quite aggressive in a couple of, actually all 3 lanes, if you include mid.
And like the Largo as well, a hero we haven't talked about yet. I think Faith Beyond has looked quite good on the Largo. And some, you know, taking a lot of pressure in this mid lane. But Largo is quite good against Winter Wyvern. Sure, you can't really dispel the Arctic Burn because she can just reapply it to you. But you don't really play on physical damage. You amp up your own magical. You also amp up your mid laner's magical damage. And that's what you want against Winter Wyvern.
This is quite the matchup here in the mid lane. So far, level advantage going the way of Chira Jr. just by a bit, as he's sitting on 8 denies, actually, versus the only 1 for the Earth Spirit.
Yeah, it's just the Earthshaker factor. And like yesterday, Yandex played nearly the same lane. Like they played it was Enigma with a Kato instead of the Hoodwink. And I will say this is a big difference. Like Hoodwink is way more aggressive and she buys a Blightstone, which is incredibly good for your Eidolons in the lane as well.
And Watson this time playing the Tiny instead of Shiro. Going to show him how to do it, apparently. They all have this Christmas tree cosmetic. Gotta love it. The classic.
Not doing too well, though, when it comes to the early CS. Of course, there's still a lot of creeps available for Watson to take down here. I think that Vici are doing a good job. Of course, Jin-Q playing the Willow. One of his better heroes, I would say, or one of his best, rather.
He has such a big pool of heroes to choose from. It's actually... I feel like we're seeing a different one every single game.
Yeah. Now, this guy has crazy versatility. Of course, he's also played for a long time. This guy also plays random heroes and pubs all the time. Like half the time he's playing cores. Like I think this guy can pull out anything. And it does help you when you play with like different roles, different heroes. So I think it's what makes him so good with gold is that he's also like he knows how to be a core from simply just playing core in his pubs.
Yep. I mean, Soxa, we've talked about that before.
Yep.
When he was top of the leaderboard a few years ago, he was 1, 2, and 3 on different accounts, and he played only carry.
Yep.
And he's never played carry in competitive matches, so becoming familiar with the ins and outs of these specific core heroes can really help as a support. XM battling it out with Chira Jr. will kick him away. Get the water rune, though. Still
which is nice.
No first blood.
No, of course, you do get pressured in this lane. Like we said before, Shaker nearly always wins this lane. He wins against most melees. Maybe not Monkey King, but, you know, he's kind of the odd one out. He's like a fake melee hero anyway. Some good pressure on the top lane.
You stop saying melee.
Melee.
Thank you.
I'll try to upgrade my English for you.
Soxa.
Yeah, miss.
Avoided first blood a while ago. Misses the Bushwhack this time as the root comes to be, and that's first blood the way of Shiro. Feels like not even just the gold, but just from a momentum standpoint or a psychological standpoint, Vici Gaming needed that badly. As Bach getting turned around on now, slowed up, but No finishing blow for the side of Yandex.
Yeah, and I think that Bak is just overall happy in this lane, right? He is patient against the Arctic Burn. You don't lick yourself early on because then he'll just reapply it. You wait for the last tick, wait for it to be over, then you dispel it off yourself. You get that early regen. CJ does get level 6 on the creep wave. No surprise kill, though.
I'm surprised there hasn't been a kill in the mid lane, if I'm being honest. They've been, especially XM, been hovering on such low HP for quite a while. It's a 6-minute power rune about to spawn.
I mean, you might definitely start seeing one now, right? We're getting closer to level 6 on Earth Spirit. You have the Echo Sam available on CJ. Not the most resources, though.
Rune will be denied. Top was an arcane. Jinkyu was trying to hold it for XM, but now he's going to be forced to go all the way back to base.
Honestly, I still think you take that if you're Vici. Like, I would say that CJ needs the rune, like, more than what, like, XM needs it, like, in this type of view at the moment, because it's kind of easier to pressure this Earthshaker right now. He doesn't have the most resources. You don't really want to spend gold on, like, tangles and salves. You want to get towards your early dagger as quickly as possible.
Yep, I don't think he missed any creeps in the mid lane. So gets back into the fray as Bak again getting gone on. Can he outlive the situation here? Absolutely. Talked about that interaction with the Wyvern. Not as good as it used to be. Well, I guess Frog didn't exist back then.
Yeah, I mean,
Arctic Burn existed in that form.
Yeah, he would have absolutely owned Winter Wyvern. But it's a nice buff, I think, overall to Winter Wyvern. I think the hero's in a very good spot now. And I like this too, you know, like swapping up overall, having the Earth Spirit in this type of game, slowing down the tempo from Yandex, like even starting the draft. Because last game around, I think Yandex already had a couple of kills their way, a 2 to 3k gold lead. They invaded the Wisdom Shrine with their Monkey King and Kez. This time around, it's a mid Earthshaker. You have a lot more breathing space here.
You say the Wyvern's in a good spot. Can you play it as core?
I think it's too good as a support, and you don't, and other range heroes are just way better. So the answer is no. Okay. I don't think you can.
Not in a good spot yet, then.
Okay.
We need that sweet spot, because core Wyvern is funny.
So you want it to be like Nature's Prophet, you can do both.
Yeah, I don't think every hero needs to be that way. Like CM, obviously, you know, it's got to be a support.
CM core slaps, though.
Wyvern's a freaking dragon. Close enough. Got to be able to turn it into a core at some point.
And you see it in pubs every now and then.
8-minute rune. Not a lot of support rotation. It's just Sox on the bot side, so it's just RNG, and it will be the Invis rune for Chira, so can definitely do some good damage with this.
Even this is quite annoying. Like, if you don't know, because you're not going to see him in a triangle, and that's where Shaker often goes after pushing out the mid, so you don't know if he's Invis on a lane. Is he coming to you to gank the Lone Druid? Watson in a bit of trouble, though.
Yeah, being pursued by Y. XM also in the area, gets off the roll. Gonna get saved for a bit, but the Magnetize is applied to Watson, and now he's in a pretty tough spot, especially if the roll comes in. It's gonna miss, though, as Watson, nice sidestep, but gets the Frostbite onto the Tiny. Still staying alive throughout all of this. Throws the tree at Y. XM eventually takes Tiny down. It took a long-ass time.
It sure did, and it shows you the strength of Cold Embrace, right? Especially when you play with, like, strength cores like a Tiny. It heals so much. Some base and a little bit of percentage damage, or percentage heal, rather. But I like this move from Vici, right? You can abuse the fact Lone Druid, not that easy to gank overall because you have the bear, but here's the Invis rune.
Yeah, this should be interesting. He's going to need a +1 for sure. Thing that was just pulled. Oh, Shiro, perfect positioning, although runs into Soxa with the bushwhack. There's the fissure. Chira trying to catch up for the Echo. Nice block off. And that's going to be the death of Shiro. Nice execution overall from Yandex.
Oh, that was very good timing, right? Before the true form is available, and also ganking for an Enigma at this point, just like, you know, the Beastmaster and the Lycans, is incredible. You know, opening up this tier 1 tower for these heroes is incredibly good. You can play in the enemy jungle in such an easy manner, which is great.
And Bak working on a Kaya. Is this going to be a Meteor Hammer or just casual into Sange later?
I feel like we've just kind of seen both. I don't know if the difference is honestly that big. Because I would also say when you play Largo, it can just be a casual Kaya. So if you just turn it like quickly into a Meteor or leave it a Kaya, I don't know if it makes a... If you want to maybe create more threat on the map, then I think Meteor is quite nice for to help you farm stacks. So actually, I wouldn't mind the Meteor upgrade.
DM in the meantime has his drums, and curious to see what his build is going to end up being. Obviously, we can name a bunch. That's the cool thing about Enigma. There's a few core items you want to go for every time, but you can definitely have some flexibilities. We're going to see the gang. Shiro is another death coming. He's going to get off the true form into the enchant totem. First black hole of the game. Not enough damage quite yet as reinforcements are coming, but the bushwhack comes in from Soxa, and eventually it's just too much crowd control for Shiro to handle a second death in a row for the lone druid. And we talked about this hero being quite slow to start the game and can get off to, I mean, if you can get these kills early on, it'll have huge impact on the game. As DM taking a magnetize now from XM, gets off the Malefice. As reinforcements are there, Shiro Jr. showing up with a huge Echo Slam, deletes 2 heroes from the map and make it a third. My goodness, that is disgusting reveal of the Blink Dagger for Chira.
No, that is incredibly good. First they get the kill with the drums, you speed up everyone, you get the kill on Shiro, then you kind of bait and CJ just gets to get a perfect echo. Because they had a nice ward, right? This ward right below DM here, it shows them the earlier move. CJ meets his courier, and it's just a perfect setup.
Oh yeah, that felt real good.
Yeah, that's a juicy reveal right there.
A lot of Enigma fans out there.
Aren't we all?
Everyone's a fan of that black hole. Now Chira. What does he go for next? Looks like the shard, so can be very annoying from afar. Get the extra stun with the enchant totem. Looking for the opening onto the Dark Willow. This will be a clean pick off. They just have so much stun lock here.
The game, like this game,
they've blown it open again.
Yeah,
5K lead and the tier 1 tower.
It's very similar to game 1 where they open up the enemy safe lane tower, they kill Vici's tower, play over in their jungle, and the only place that Vici find are like random kills or touches in their own jungle. Like it's very, very similar with how the map is being played. There's no pressure on Watson's safe lane currently, only in the laning stage. Shiro doesn't really have that much space to work with himself. And we're already up to a 5K lead, now 6K.
Yeah, we've seen this story before.
Yeah, and I said something similar last game, right? They're gonna wait for XM's Vessel. Again, last game it was the Ember, this game it's the Earth Spirit. Hopefully that can push you over this threshold where you can fight.
But at this point, Yandex is running around with 2 cores. Like, who's the second core that's going to join him? The Frog? Get the Enchant Totem initiation onto XM. Already at half HP with the Malefice. He's in a lot of trouble, and he will eventually burn out. The Curse used just in case. A nice pick off yet again from Yandex. Shiro Jr. popping that shield rune now. He has an Echo Slam back as well. You get the fissure kill onto Y. Just gets catapulted across the map.
Honestly, the wards that Yandex have right now are kind of, I think they're illegal. If you're Vici, you need to talk about them and get them out of this game. Like this ward right here that DM is playing on just gave them like 2 kills. The ward earlier down bottom as well is the one that gave them the kill on Shiro and then the nice follow-up play. Because they're just making it look like, look, they're just all keeping perfect. You don't even see Shaker who's getting the kill.
Yeah.
Same with Sox, he's just bushwhacking. Okay.
Oh, no, not another one. Okay, he only gets a couple of stuns into the retreat without a +1. Would not be able to finish that one.
I can tell you from experience, when you're playing mid Shaker and you're finishing a full Kaya before you could even buy the shard, you're cooking. And you're cooking hard.
We talked about it. It's a very momentum-based hero. Very hard to stop once it starts rolling. And from Vici's side, even if they get this Spirit Vessel, which they now have on XM, I would assume he's grouping up with the supports. Is Bok actually joining the fights this early? Usually you want this +1 item.
I think you will angle towards the fight, and like if it starts, you TP in and you're somewhat close. You do want to give the Croak to your Earth Spirit, amp up his damage as much as possible. When you have a deficit, you really need to grab everything you can.
All right, they're going to try for it on DM. He's already taken a ton of damage here. They're going to try to separate for this Chira Jr. initiation. They get the stun onto XM, so it ends up being a trade. Mid for offlane, still advantage Yandex, and now a curse onto the solo Frog. Malady not going to be too happy with that, though, as now he's on the retreat. Gets licked up. Looking for the stun is Watson. Gets the toss up, and the Echo Slam onto the back line, destroying the supports. As CM next on the list, it's a full team wipe for Yandex. Only so much you can do.
I feel like I'm watching the same game twice. Like Yandex have a lead, they smoke and kill DM. Then there's a return curse. Everyone comes in and they get like 3, 4, or 5 kills onto Vici. I mean, CJ, he is having some very nice spell usage because he just gets to wait, right? DM always takes the first contact. Great avatars. Boom. That's a nice juicy echo once again.
Yeah, disgusting display from Yandex again. I mean, right now, they're clearly, I mean, if this continues to go in their favor, they're going to get third place at this tournament since it's the third place decider.
Yep.
They're a top 3 team in the world for sure. I was a little surprised they didn't make the finals, if I'm being honest. I thought they'd been the most consistent, even more so than P-Vision.
P-Vision just looked a little bit better, at least yesterday. I think it was one of the first times I saw Yandex be like slightly uncomfortable. I think they had like very nice balance and also like plays as Bach.
He's dead.
Too many deaths around this mid lane.
He won't be Bach anytime soon.
Nope. 30 seconds for that.
Now they find XM in his own side of the map, of course. He rolls up onto the high ground looking for Malady. DM is there with the Midnight Pulse, so doing a lot of damage. And guess who joins him? The Earthshaker. XM dead again. Jin Q likely to fall after the fact. The Black Hole clips both supports as CM looks to be next for Yandex to take out. These are just too easy. Nobody really, I mean, I guess Malady almost died, but even if Vici got that, wouldn't have been nearly.
Yeah, it wouldn't do any. And in both these games, you have to wonder a bit. I mean, full credit to Yandex. They're playing incredible. And I think they also showed it yesterday, taking, you know, 3 games against P-Vision and doing very well there. But Vici, you have very greedy drafts in both these games, and you're deciding to take so many engagements. Lone Druid, even if you wanted him to join, he can't.
Yeah.
He doesn't do anything. Even the last fight he did join, and then he just joined you in dying. So, because they need time. But at this point, you're down double digit at minute 16.
3-17. This is just like yesterday's game where they ended with 3.
Yep.
Will they get another kill this game? I think
they will. I'm looking at 420.
Okay, so that's a kill pretty soon here. I would not take those odds personally.
I think a 1 for 3 trade might not be that weird. They're going to smoke again. They're going to go on DM because that's the only play we've seen in both games.
That's true. XM.
That's okay. He can
looks
die.
To be dead.
We need a 2-for-1 trade now in the next fight. So wait for XM.
This feels like such a late game. I mean, they're taking tier 2s. It's not even, Tormentor's not even up yet. What are we watching? We are the 2-0 masters, my friend.
Yeah, and I hate it. I don't like this at all. This is so one-sided. Yandex are just making them look like fools. And Vici are a great team. I expect more from them.
Spotted. Okay.
Yes.
Can they get this kill to get the
Stop missing.
DM is there with the Midnight Pulse and the Malefice onto Shiro's Bear as Fissure destroys Y. Luckily for Vici, the Bear doesn't count as a kill to a hero.
All right, kill DM and die for it. That's the only. I'm committed now. I'm committed to the bid.
We have another. If they just get 3 kills in a row, then we're okay, right?
Okay, that's true. But I like that one
one of them.
I like that one less. And we had it yesterday for like 2 seconds.
It wasn't enough.
That's not enough.
We need to enjoy ourselves here in Paris.
Of course.
Shiro. And they're not going to stop this action. Not going to stop this pursuit.
That's his last bear.
Roll in from XM. Midnight Pulse right on top of him. He's isolated from the rest of his team. His Malady all alone on his side, but he's not taking any damage. And they're going to be able to kill off this bear. Sharpshooter comes in. There's the Meteor Hammer. Malady getting really low, but healed up. And now the rest of Vici Gaming going to suffer the consequences. Good effing game, says Y. As Yandex completely spandex on top of Vici Gaming. And again, the 3-2-2 came out for a split second.
Just like yesterday. Can't have anything for more than 3 seconds.
Wow.
But yeah,
What a
Yandex.
stop.
I think you heard it before. I think, you know, even yesterday, Yandex are just an incredibly good team. You know, that was some easy money for playtime ratio.
Yes, I would say
like
so.
for Yandex here, that's a quick 80K in like 20 and 30 minutes. But just looking good. And also at the same time, like not just credit to them, I think that should show everyone how good P-Vision are. You know, if they can make Yandex look so different, just like less than 24 hours before, I'm scared for the finals.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one for sure, as 3rd place secured officially for Yandex. Yet another top 3 finish for my boy Soxa. Faith Beyond not able to come through this time around for Vici, but there's still, you know, overall, if we forget the last 2 series.
Yeah, don't think about this one or yesterday, but the way they got there.
They have had a good tournament overall. Top 4 finish. I think we wouldn't have picked them for that to start the tournament. We're seeing Chiro Jr. with his blink reveal, and this is when things started to get out of control in favor of Yandex.
It's just very, very slow. And I think we've seen it time and time again from the top teams right now. Like, they hold a very steady map. You know, you have the carry that is not that easy to get ganked in the safe lane. You help your offlaner take the tier 1 tower. You hold a steady map. And they just played very clean. And I think we've just been seeing this more and more.
And the This is one of the later fights. We're going to maybe see the 3-2. That was the highlight of the game.
It may be a slow motion that we can enjoy it a little bit longer.
20. And somehow Malady stays alive throughout all of this. 21, 22, and into the interview we go.
Thank you so much, guys. Yes, I am here with the GOAT. Yeah, give it up! Give it up for the GOAT! Here, the Saksa. So good to see you, my friend, back on the stage. I know, I wish I was under better circumstances, but it is really, really exciting to see you guys showcase all that you have done throughout this year, get in that third place desire, get that third place. How are we feeling after that series?
I think after the series we feel good. Today we played much better than yesterday. We were like in a good shape, and yeah, we feel great after this.
All right, well, that's really good to hear. And congratulations for the prize money as well, being able to get that much higher one. So good on you there. Let's talk a little bit about the team. I mean, obviously, such a fantastic team. You've had such a great year. There's so many, I wouldn't say signs of life, because you guys are absolutely dumpstering still. What are your plans after this? Where do we go from here for our next tournament?
I think take a week break or something, and then reset and prepare for TI. Fix the things we did badly in this series, like yesterday, and just adjust and go in TI with a good mentality.
Absolutely. If you would have to, who on your team would you say would be your MVP throughout this event? Who do you think has grown the most or had the best plays? Who do you think?
I think Malady.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had some undying performances when he's like going just, 1v4 or something, and just, yeah, I think he's doing good.
All right, do you think that update might come out to nerf what you guys have been so successful with before the next big event? I mean, you guys have absolutely destroyed most of your opponents.
I think, sorry, what was the question?
Will there be an update to nuke Undying, all right?
Hopefully.
What do you mean, hopefully? That's his best hero. Yeah, I just saw his face. He got pissed when you said that. You can't say that. No, no, no. They should not nerf you guys. They should nerf the heroes of who's playing the grand finals, right?
I mean, yeah, they should do that, but who knows? Maybe we'll come up with new stuff for TI. It's, we have a bit of a break, so yeah, we can definitely adjust.
All right, well, sorry to say this, but I know that there's no one in this building that has your brain, my man. So I have to ask you, with your opinion, looking into our grand finals coming up, who do you think is going to take it from a guy who is on the battlefield against both of them?
I think Parivision has a good chance of taking it.
We're talking percentages?
Let's say 80% and maybe a score of 3-1.
Oh, okay. Damn. All right. You were really getting specific. I like that. All right, man. Do you guys think 80% on P-Vision? All right. Woo! You guys just agree with them because, yeah, okay, whatever. No problem. All right. Last thing. Now, typically I don't get a chance to do this at events like this, but I would love it if you could have a little word with your fans, what they can look forward to, any words for them as you continue your journey and we get to see you guys at the International.
I think I just want to say thanks for supporting us. It's nice to see some support. Usually when we play some tournaments, yeah, thank you. We've had some tournaments where the crowd has been against us, so to have some support for us, I think it feels amazing. I think we will try to be better next tournament. We were in good shape now, but I think we've made some mistakes. We will adjust, and I think we will show some good old at TI.
Absolutely. You will come back stronger. Thank you so much for your incredible performance. Thank you for playing this incredible series. We'll see more from Yandex another time as we head in to preparing for our grand finals. See you soon.
Thank you, Slacks and Saksa on stage again. The only man around here that's making Slacks look that up to have an interview, and it was a great interview as well, talking about TI, what they're going to change, what they're happy with, and also echoing that it's good to have some support. Not always support in the building for Yandex, but with this win, they add another $200,000 to the 1.2 million, now about 1.4 in the last 8 months as a team. BSJ, when you look at how they played today, it was kind of a foregone conclusion that this was going to be the result.
Yeah, oftentimes it's hard to quantify how good teams are at Dota, but I'd say the prize money is a great way of saying it throughout the course of this year. They've been so consistent. I mean, I guess there have been times they've had their tournaments where they somehow they either got dead last or they got top 4 in every single event. And I was just wondering what type of Yandex we were going to see throughout this event, but they were very convincing very early on. in the group stage. They were absolutely manhandling everybody. So it was nice to see them go out the way that they did. I think they're looking good for TI, and even though obviously they weren't in the finals and they did not take the whole thing, I think they're going to walk away with their heads held high.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this dominant performance from a team only dropping to P-Vision.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, the game 2 was also relatively close, but this one also showing the strength of the team, what they can do, because, you know, we're in top 4, and it does feel there's a clear difference between 3rd and 4th place. It's such a massive gap that they were unable to close on side of Vici Gaming. But Team Yandex, man, we got to give them credit because they completely stopped the tournament. Getting the 3rd place, would definitely love to see them in the finals potentially again, but due to format, unable to do so, and nothing to be ashamed of. And this is the team that had so many top finishes in this year, and for me, the best team of the year so far.
I like how Gorg put it. It kind of balanced on a knife's edge, the way that they were going to approach coming into today, because you could look at today as, well, we already didn't make finals, so now we won't give our all. Or you could look at it as, we have so much more to give that we did not display, and we are, you know, frustrated that we didn't do that. So now we're going to show our best in this upcoming set. That's exactly what Yandex did. And I think if you look grand scheme of things, if you look reset week heading into TI, Brian, that's got to give a lot of confidence to people who support that squad. A mentality like that goes a long way, because upsets, unfortunate results are bound to happen.
Yeah, my armchair psychology dosage for today is that
we were missing that.
Yeah, exactly. So I think if you have the mentality that like this series is not worth it to bring our all, or like we're salty that we didn't make it to the finals, like if you have a condition that needs to be met for you to give it your all, to take it very seriously, and to show everyone what you can do, then that's also creating the nerves when you go into that finals, when you where you're like, I have to rise to the occasion, I have to do something special in order to win this game. A team like Yandex, they believe they have what it takes. They know, like, on any given day we can take a game off of any given team. And if you have that mentality where you approach practice, you approach 3rd place decider, you approach the semifinals the exact same way, then I just think that is a test to why this team has that mentality and why their results have been the way that they have all throughout the year.
Yeah, this is a team that has been in many situations. And ever since Saxa joined, I think he brought a lot of stability. Every single time you hear an interview, they praise him for a good reason, because he kind of made this team happen in a way where these were the players that didn't find much success. They were there, but not really there. I think Watson is a good example, and with the right team, he gets to shine. Like, this is something that he's been grinding. He's been rank 1 for a really long time, and it finally shows in the gameplay that this grind is paying off. And with the leadership of Saxa and Malady, of course, this team is just at a completely different level, because he is bringing in, you know, his previous TI wins and all the experience that you're getting from like multiple tournaments. He's been like part of the scene for a very long time, and a lot of the times throughout Dota history, we are seeing these teams that are mixes of old and new blood are kind of the most successful ones.
Yeah, having somebody who's still on that grind, still has something to prove, but is kind of vanguarded by those with experience, Malady in this case as well. Taking a look at the scoreboard, Shiro did not really have a chance to even get going in this game. XM as well, we said this is the win condition with the Earth Spirit. Did his best, got 2 kills, but it was just goose eggs across the board for most of Vici Gaming. Yandex had control over this game, and another great performance by CJ BSJ, which he's been a dominant mid laner for Yandex this entire tournament, but I mean, his matchup today against XM, it never really looked close.
Yeah, there were a few matchups that I feel like I got the wrong impression of because I watched CJ play them, in the sense that I'm like, oh, this is like a 60-40 matchup. Oh no, it's actually 80-20 if CJ's the one playing it. And I think he's been the most notable counter picker in the mid lane, and in a meta where you have heroes like Earth Spirit, Ember Spirit getting picked so much. Imagining if they do patch the game before TI, I don't think it's going to be some game changer that completely swaps up the meta. It may nerf some popular heroes like Undying, but I think that this skill set that he has and his ability to be put in that position by his teammates and say, we are confident that if we give you last pick, you are going to punish that guy, and get an 11-0-11 score like we saw there or something similar, like that's a lot of confidence. That bodes a lot of, you know, belief from your teammates. And for somebody who's kind of was off the map coming into this year, Seer Jr., such a standout, like improved performance throughout the course of the year.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that they are putting quite a lot of respect when they're playing against him. Yesterday, they took his invoker, pretty much P-Vision stole it away from him, and also counterpicking, as you said, like he looked extremely confident in some of these matchups as well, where he's playing Monkey King yesterday, upgraded it pretty heavily today in terms of what he was able to do, and also his Shaker. The reason why we mentioned it is this hero looks very good against some of these certain matchups that he's going to be able to dominate the game, and he definitely did.
They had a lot of control. I mean, in most of those fights, they were basically setting the tempo, which we talked about earlier, but they were also just having lineups that really excelled in locking these heroes down on the side of Vici Gaming. I mean, you got to give credit to Yandex for putting together a game plan that worked like that. But also, I mean, to me, individually, it is important to look at the journeys all these players are on. Malady, we talked to him earlier on, and he was kind of holding the steering of the ship, the Vanguard I had said before. What to me, going into TI, I want to get your thoughts on what is his narrative here now over these next few weeks. What does he want to accomplish? What does this next TI, this next step mean for Malady in his place in Dota?
Yeah, one of the stories that some people forget about is last year he was on Gaming Gladiators, and there was some drama that happened. They had qualified for TI, and they ended up having a player like Quinn who retired on being effectively disqualified in a way from TI. They didn't even get to play the tournament. They had been working all throughout last year, grinding and peaking at just the right time. Quite a team with a potential to even be in the running for the championship, and then they don't even get to play. So for him coming into TI this year, like literally this looks like deja vu, but I imagine he's actually going to get to play the tournament this year. And I feel like he's playing effectively the weight of 2 TIs for himself and one, all the work that he's put in here.
Yeah, most definitely. You can tell that he is hardworking person, very honest, like very. I think it makes me happy seeing him in the scene because of like the way he does his interview, where like he puts his sunglasses, you know, just a very likable fella, but also a menace to deal with in the game as well. And the full squad, they definitely deserve it because of all these top tier places that they had in this year. We said it like 3 wins so far in the 2025-2026 season, multiple multiple second places as well, third place on top of that as well. So this is going to be a team that a lot of people will be trying to dissect, trying to look what they're doing so well, apart from P-Vision, the BB team as well. They had a great season, and they're going to need to, you know, maybe not reveal as much. There's going to be, you know, scrims. We said that they had not been playing some scrims because they did not want to reveal too many things. But as Saxa said, 1 week of just relaxing and then prepare for TI. And I feel like this team definitely has a shot. They definitely have the mentality as well to potentially take it.
Yeah, they did a lot for their narrative heading into it. And obviously TI going to be right around the corner. We still have Dota 2 at EWC 2026, however, coming up. Those finals just a little bit away. So stay tuned, guys. We're going to get through that and get you onto them as soon as they begin. But most importantly, we have to finish out today's day. And that, of course, in this game means that we have an MVP, and an MVP performance. If you've seen the games, if you've watched them, there's a lot of people that could be in that list, but there's one person who stood out in the mid lane. Of course, that was CJ. And BSJ, he's going to be the MVP for today. His impact, it's in the numbers, but it's also, you do the eye test, he was everywhere.
Yeah, deservingly so. I think the fact that we saw standout performances from everybody else, it's hard to choose in a series like this where they just look convincingly better on firing on all cylinders. But it's like, for me, the question that got asked yesterday when they were playing against P-Vision is, how is CJ going to operate under pressure? Because this is an unfamiliar, he's one of the least experienced players that made it this far in the tournament. And we saw some nerves showing up a little bit yesterday, and having a player like this, I think being in the team that he's in, and the question is, like Bork said, how do you bounce back from this? What is your mentality after having maybe not lived up to what you believe your potential is the previous day? And this is the message he's sending, right? This is the type of performance he's going to put on.
You were hyping that play. Yeah, it's a message that's going to echo in a lot of people's ears after this Shaker's performance, because he's the reason why this game was the quickest game of EWC so far. 18 minutes and 40 seconds. We saw BB against XG, where it was 20-minute game. They were not able to punch back in this one, but CJ, confident boost as well. You know, playing in front of the crowd, making sure that they're also winning tournaments in the year is a huge boost, showing that you can do it, and that's what matters coming into these big tournaments as well. They got the 3rd place here. Looking forward to see what they're going to be able to do at TI, because this is the money time of the year.
As someone who's been involved in the first and second TIs and who's gone and had this experience, how important is it to get this early kind of confidence, this early, just at this point of your career, big moment that CJ can then build off of? In your experience, how important?
Yeah, you definitely want to experience that playing in front of the crowd, because you know, for a lot of players, you may think, maybe those who have been in the scene for a really long time, it becomes normal to them, but people who haven't really experienced it, like you see, you get into the arena's shaking, and you're like, okay, well, maybe, you know, some nerves are kicking in, you're trying to calm down. So it's very good to experience this prior to big events. And I think for CJ, this is what he kind of needed as well. And also, like, the year that they did have, it's a huge confidence boost, showing that you can be winning the tournaments. With, like, I think a good example was BB team prior to them starting to win tournaments, where they were unable to do so. You could definitely feel that this was some, like, mental thing, that something that they couldn't breach into. And you know, after working with some psychologists, you definitely feel like that they managed to get through this and break the barrier and get into it. So for them, I feel like they're in a really good spot, and I don't think this team is going to struggle.
Was it BSJ that they worked with?
Yeah, it was him.
Okay,
it was him and Dr.
Armchair
K.
psychologist. I was just about to reference that, and then you said psychologist, and I was going to say something about exposure therapy, which is hilarious, because getting exposed to these moments is great at this age because they become normal later on as well. I've experienced that in my life. It's always great to see how people handle those bright lights, and obviously some have different stories to tell, and some pacings of those stories, you might be at the end, you might be at the beginning, well, you might be right in the middle as somebody who's reinvented their career and come back with that sweet sound of them playing Dota 2 yet again. It's inspired many. It's been the hope of China, and now we've got a chance to speak with the main man Bach himself in an exit interview.
Hello, I'm here with Bach of Vici Gaming. You guys just had a rough series, very difficult team to play against. What was that like playing against them?
We scrimmed with them a lot, and we know they are strongest team right now, the Yandex and P-Vision. So I mean, a loss to them isn't like very hard, but I think we just performed like kind of bad. I mean, game 2 was too easy, and game 1 we had a chance, but like we screw up some team fight and position. Yeah.
But you guys still had a great tournament performance as a whole. I mean, your group stage was looking a little rocky, but you ended up 4th overall. I think that's a really good result personally. How do you feel looking back on the tournament as a whole? Was 4th place farther than you expected to get?
Yeah, I mean, it's beyond our expectation. Like, to be honest, we play better and better day by day, and I think this is a very good result for our way going to TI, because it proves us like we can do good, but also tell us like we need to do better. We need to learn more from you know, these top 3 teams.
Yeah, they are very hard to play against. Do you have practice potential against them in the upcoming weeks? Are you guys staying in Europe? Are you going to play scrims here, or what's the plan?
We're gonna play the Game of Future tournament, so we're gonna, you know, rest here for a few days and get some scrims and go for that tournament, and yeah, just keep improving and trying to get better at next tournament. Yeah.
What are the main things that you think you need to fix before the next tournament?
I think, like, compared to these top 3 teams, one is, you know, hero understanding, like game understanding, like what heroes combo are good and like what they can deal with. And another is micro thing, like laning or team fight. You know, it's so much big difference. Like if you do some micro on lane, like P-Vision and Yandex, like yesterday they used Long Drain and Wyvern to beat Yandex Enigma. So I mean, that's very different to after laning. So yeah, we need to focus on, I mean, every player's individual play.
I see. That makes a lot of sense. Well, some things to fix, but you guys did make a lot of progress. So thanks for playing all of these matches. It's been very fun to watch your guys' journey, all your knockouts, a lot of fun moments, and good luck in the upcoming tournament.
Thank you.
All right, Bach not switching over to that musical instrument. What was it? It's a piano. What is that called?
Like a portable keyboard?
A portable keyboard?
Yeah,
I want one. My daughter would love that. That would be the best toy in the house so far. So
You might not love that toy after a little bit.
You're right. Maybe hold on to that purchase, honey, if she's watching. Okay, so I think going into this, we've kind of dissected a lot, but it was nice to see, Bach just give one last interview. Any takeaways from him? I mean, I think it's echoing the same sentiments that we've seen so far. Brian just has a lot to learn.
Yeah, for me, Bach is, I think it's a widely held belief that he's one of the most likable players in all of Dota 2, as well as the Chinese community as a whole. The guy is such, my story about this guy is that he came to be a talent for EWC. It was like 3 years ago, and he was relatively fresh on English, and he's like, I'm just gonna learn English while I'm here, And over the course of the event, he became more alive, like he's expressing more of his personality in English, and it was like, he's just such a curious, open-minded, just takes on any challenge, and hearing him talk about it, it's like, yes, we need to do better, but it doesn't come from a voice of pressure or embarrassment or anything like that. It comes from this is just a challenge that I want to partake in, and just being around him. If anyone ever gets a chance,
he has the aura.
He has the aura.
He has the aura.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I mean, there's something that came true. I mean, Lacoste, they did get better throughout this set, and not this set particularly, but throughout this survival stage and coming in from groups, they did more than most people expected them to do.
Oh, absolutely. I think they weren't under a lot of people's radars what they're going to be able to do this tournament.
Yeah.
They had pretty mediocre group stage, and then they turned it into something magical. In the survival stage, they managed to eliminate 1W and also Falcons on top of that 2-0 in a pretty convincing fashion, bringing in some new stuff, bringing in new heroes, new ideas as well. Maybe they got slightly figured out because you see that some of the heroes that they had prepared for this one got banned in the series that they just played, making sure that they're not going to be using those weapons.
Well, it was obviously a tough matchup for them today, but there's tough matchups all around EWC because we've got Chris standing by at the STC Arena to let us know what's going on with Championship Sunday for League of Legends. Chris?
I had a little bit of time, so I thought I'd come and see the most handsome man in esports.
You found a mirror?
I didn't want to go that far. Ian, how's things going anyway? We're all about on STC Arena, a league happening today. We've got our second to last game coming up now. How are things going between T1 and Genji?
Well, as I look around right now, I don't see an empty seat in the STC Arena. It's sold out. It was crazy when we arrived here in our taxis this morning. There was queues as far as the eye could see, of course, for the grand final. But not only that, as you just mentioned here, the third place matchup. And as you're aware, after last night, everybody's loving the third place matchups.
We love a third place matchup. Typically, we don't love a third place matchup, but when they go in the direction that they went last night, we actually don't mind it at all.
We don't mind at all. And we don't mind this either because many people expected this to be the grand final. It is Genji versus T1, just two Korean juggernauts going at it right now. T1, the span support, as you might expect. That roster's just star-studded from top to bottom, but whenever Faker comes to your city, you got to show up, you got to show out, and they're here. It's a massive support.
And I think the thing is, even for Dota fans, they'll be like, oh yeah, Faker.
Yeah.
Look, we kind of get it. I get it as well. I mean, look, it's been fantastic to see him, Kerry, and the SKT boys in and around, and just the crowd support as well. I think that's one of the big things as well. When we got told we were going to Paris, it was like, man, we get French esports fans, and they've really showed out this weekend.
Oh, absolutely. And wait till you hear them in the grand final, like the KC fans, the Carmine Corp fans, the blue wall. I'd never actually experienced it personally. I've seen little bits of gentle mates earlier on in the tournament and in other places, but the KC fans, they're so loud. If you ask them what's the colour, they're going to shout blue back to you several times, and I just feel like there's just going to be a crazy wave of energy, and D plus Kia have got their work cut out for them, not just because